have the honor to be a knight.
Knighthood has fallen on sad days.
They're incestuous aliens, don't
You must find 6 other knights to fight beside you.
By rights, I should beat you bloody.
I thought, aren't you trying to help me?
Been a wonderful tournament.
Be gone, witch. Fuck off with you.
Yes, ma'am. At once.
Cunt. It's fine. You're fine. He's a terrible maester.
You heard it up top. Get ready to get 6 of your friends together for an ultimate rumble, because we're about to talk A Knight's Tale, kind of, and that we're talking the new Game of Thrones spinoff, new HBO series, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, here on Normies Like Us, with your hosts. I'm gonna be puppeteer Colin.
Okay, I'm going to be Lionel Mike Rathian, the podcasting storm.
Oh no!
My lords, I have the honor to be Sir Jacob the Tall.
It's my lord. If you want to pass as a
My
commoner,
lord. That's
lowborn
right.
say my lord.
As a knight, I would say my lord.
Fair, my lord. You're right. You're right. A knight of the Normies podcast, as it were.
That's right. We're back in Westeros. Finally.
Yeah.
Of course, we've talked Game of Thrones many times. We've talked our Hot D, House of the Dragon. And now, the second Game of Thrones spinoff, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, a.k.a. The Tales of Dunk and Egg.
The Dunkalorian. You know?
That's right.
It's another one of these formula shows where it's like an older mentor and a younger mentee kind of thing. We've seen a lot of this. So it's like, ooh, when I first had it announced, I'm like, I don't know, is the formula played out? What's this going to be? We've seen a lot of this. So I was a little bit nervous going into it. But how about you guys when this was announced, Jacob? I know you're probably the biggest Game of Thrones fan, at least that I know.
That's right.
So how did you feel when it was announced that we're getting this spin-off?
I was never worried that it would be... I would never had any concerns because, of course, I'm familiar with the source material, which is the Tales of Dunk and Egg novellas, which are 3 novellas that George R. R. Martin wrote. The first one in 1998, which is what this season is based on, The Hedge Knight. So this is literally a story from 1998. So I wasn't too worried about it being too, formulaic or too much like The Mandalorian or anything like that.
This has already been written, years before the trope settled in.
And I have a lot of opinions on Game of Thrones, George R. R. Martin, all that stuff. I would say I'm not a Game of Thrones fan, actually, to be pedantic, because I consider myself a Song of Ice and Fire fan.
Oh,
You're right. My mistake. My mistake.
The books will always be superior to the show, and I'm one of those annoying book purists who just wants to complain about all the changes they made in the show. So that's me.
Hopefully we can give you a platform to do some of that today, comparing the novella to what the show gave us,
We'll get ready to hear a lot about the Targaryen line of succession, because I'm going to be talking. Yeah.
This guy's a big fan of Succession. If you ever meet him in real life, he's really into Succession, Targaryens.
That's all he talks about.
That's right.
Any kind of that. But Colin, what about you? Going in, were you excited when this was announced? Were you tired of Westeros? How were you feeling when they said this is going to be a thing?
Yeah. A reminder, I've never read a Game of Thrones book. I like George R. R. Martin. I like his weird vampire stories. I certainly didn't know this is one of the adaptations. I guess to me, it was just like, oh, okay, it would make sense that we'd get another Game of Thrones spinoff. But this mostly seemed to go under the radar. I'm not positive I saw outright advertisements post Hot D that were like, you're never going to believe what this one's about. So there really kind of wasn't anything to catch my eye on it.
Interesting.
Interesting, because at least the online sort of book fan community was kind of going crazy, like, oh yeah, Dunk and Egg, because sort of famously this is like George R. R. Martin's favorite story that he's written in the Westeros, like in A Song of Ice and Fire canon. Like, he loves Dunk and Egg as characters, he loves these stories, and he's always meant to write more. He keeps saying like he has like 6 or 7 more ideas for stories, but he also said like, I won't be writing anymore until I finish The Winds of Winter. So
he won't be writing anymore.
Can you imagine if Gene Roddenberry had created Star Trek, this whole huge, vast, incredible, interconnected world, and he was like, "No, but I'm like obsessed with this story of like how Data goes on an adventure with a microwave," and people are like, "Yeah, but we like the whole thing," and he's like, "No, I like this thing though."
My
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah,
thing
well.
is Spot and Data.
I mean, I guess
And-
sure, good.
It's sort of like, yeah, you could say he's gotten so much into the world building and doing this whole Fire and Blood, which is sort of the story of the whole Targaryen line ever since Aegon the Conquered. Like he's doing anything
Insane.
but finishing the main line series. But again, this 3 novellas written. The first one in 1998, second one in 2003, third one in 2010. So those are the
Wow.
3 that have been written. Like you said, he has ideas for like 6 more that'll follow them throughout their lives. But who knows if we'll ever see that because
I have ideas. All right,
Yeah.
all right, Grandpa.
look,
All right,
I'm
we gotta finish up your first idea, then we can
I'm a
talk
George
about
R. R.
the
Martin
7
defender.
others.
I do want to show off. So I watched this show all the way through twice.
Wow.
As I believe Mike, you did as well.
Yes, I did it once week to week, and then once in a 3-hour plus or minus kind of binge.
Same, exactly. Yeah, I watched them as they came out originally, and then I binged the whole thing again. You pick up on a lot of stuff that way. And I was so into it that and I want to show off my book collection here.
Yes, for the viewers.
I bought this, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which is a compilation of the 3 novellas, Duncan Egg novellas, and they've got some nice illustrations in here, which is very cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So this is, the Hedge Knight and the other 2 compiled together. Look at my boys here.
Oh,
See that?
where's that little hat? I want Egg to wear
Little
that
straw
hat
Come on.
next time.
He wears that hat in the second novella, so we'll see that next season.
Good. We'll get there.
And you've got your Westeros compendium behind you. You got all your...
Yes, getting this actually completes, as far as I'm aware, the entire A Song of Ice and Fire written collection, because I, of course, have the mainline series box set. So here's a Game of Thrones, the first book in the series. I have this, which I also got somewhat recently, Fire and Blood. This is what House of the Dragon's source material comes from.
Right.
Which is just a history of the entire Targaryen line. So not just the Hot D era, but like the entire. And this is part 1. So this is like Aegon the Conqueror to the Dance of the Dragons, which is the Hot D, and then he's also planning on writing a part 2 of this, which will be from Dance of the Dragons to current day of Game of Thrones. And then of course I've got the World of Ice and Fire, which is this big illustrated like textbook type of thing.
Gotcha, like World Encyclopedia kind of thing.
Yeah. So I've got all the George R. R. Martin A Song of Ice and Fire written works.
Damn.
Okay. Well, it'll be an interesting conversation to have because I've never read any of the books either. And I find myself after watching this season, spoiler, I want more, but like I'm scared to look up, like I want to know more about this character, that character, but you can't look it up because I'm inevitably going to get spoiled. So I have to like hide away from all the information that's floating out there for everybody that has read these novellas. So now I'm trying to like shelter in place from all the spoilers for the next couple of years.
My recommendation is I can't recommend the books highly enough. I first started watching Game of Thrones way back in like 2011, right when the show came out.
Good Lord.
I was watching season 1 and season 2. I think I started watching it when it was on season 2 because season 1 it wasn't making a lot of waves yet, right? But caught on, became a huge hit. And then between seasons 2 and 3 airing, I got into the books. So I actually got into the books through the show. But then once I started getting the books, I was like, I like this so much more than the show. Not that the show is terrible. It's a decent adaptation, but there's just so much you can do in a novel that you can't do in TV, right? It's hard to adapt that kind of thing with the scale and the detail. So I got into A Song of Ice and Fire, read all those books, of course. And so now, and having watched this show, I'm now fully A Song of Ice and Fire pilled again. I'm looking up Targaryen wiki lore and stuff. Like I'm deep into it again. So, and I love it. So that's where we are.
All right. Well, that's where we are. Here there's a tourney that we can enter in the list if we want to head on over to Westeros and get down to the Ashbury tourney. Let's talk a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Duncan Eggtail, right after this.
We're back. We're about to talk one epic game of tug of war, because we're talking a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, a Game of Thrones tale, or something dumb like that. The HBO spinoff here on
Yes.
Normies Like Us.
And it's an interesting show because it was only 6 episodes and they averaged about 30 minutes each. Maybe the first episode was like 40, and even the finale was like 35 or something. It's like they didn't like.
God bless.
They just kept it lean and mean. Honestly, I was at first like, this is too short, but I really liked it. There's no fat on it. It's really tight.
Yeah, and I think it works that way because, first of all, again, it's based on a novella, so there's just not that much more they could have added. And they did sort of add some background on some things, like the entire flashback to Dunk's childhood and stuff, not in the original book.
Okay.
And even things like his relationship with Sir Lionel Baratheon, your favorite guy, much more fleshed out in the show, I would say, than in the original novella.
Gotcha. Well,
and even his relationship with Sir Arlen of Pennytree, his sort of father figure, is really more deepened in the show. So that's a change I liked a lot too.
Interesting. So they're putting a little bit more backstory on some of this stuff. I remember the first couple episodes came out, like the first 2 or so, and I was texting you guys off pod, like, I don't know, I feel like it would have been nice to have an action scene or something. We're at a tournament and we haven't really done anything but wander around. But by the time it all wrapped up, like I love this show. Like I really enjoyed it. I watched it twice and I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
This might be my favorite thing in Westeros that I've watched visually so far.
Yeah. I want to hear you guys' first thoughts. Mine, I mean, I also loved it as well. One of my favorites. And of course, I said this about season 1 of House of the Dragon, which I also put up there. But I think this is perhaps the most faithful adaptation of George R.R. Martin's material in tone and thematic, like even more than Game of Thrones. Like I think Ira Parker, the showrunner of the show, really gets A Song of Ice and Fire in a way that Benioff and Weiss didn't even get, and especially by the end, which don't even get
they ran out of material. It's a whole thing. Yeah, infamous ending, and they're trying to do triage on it with Hot D, and even the second season, we're like, I don't know. So then this, to at least for me, be very good. I'm like, maybe I'm back into Westeros. But Colin, what's your kind of first impression?
I don't know, Jacob. Won't this Ira Parker just inevitably become the third showrunner to be in a feud with George R. R. Martin when he eventually writes a blog post that says they didn't listen to me?
There is a cycle here, and I want to talk about this as a George R. R. Martin defender. So, of course, Game of Thrones, when it comes out, George R. R. Martin picked Benioff and Weiss himself to be the showrunners of the show. And at first, their working relationship was very good. Over time, it sort of deteriorated. They stopped listening to him as much. And
can I just say real quick, the revelation now is like that's come out is like they had a completed script and no one else did. Like it's truly, it was like that level of like they had done their homework a little bit, and he's like, I was impressed by that.
The bare minimum.
The test he gave them in the first meeting, he said, and again, this is a common fan theory that a lot of people could have answered that were fans of the books, but he said, who is Jon Snow's true parentage, right? The R plus L equals J theory, which is Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark are his true parents. They answered that correctly, which was like, oh, they get it. Let me hire these guys. But a lot of people could have answered that. So I don't know.
You solved my riddle. Okay.
Yeah, people were answering that on fandom boards in 1998. But and then of course we get House of the Dragon, and this is based on Fire and Blood, the Targaryen history. And again, George R. R. Martin picks the showrunner Ryan Condal personally, and he says, look, this time it's going to be different. Ryan Condal and I are like on the same wavelength, like we really get this. And for the first season, they had a great working relationship, and we got the first season of House of Dragon, which everyone loved. The second season, if you saw, there was an interview with George R. R. Martin recently where he did not hold back on his feelings about these things. But he said, basically, my relationship with Ryan Condal now is terrible. In the second season, he basically stopped listening to me. And I just want to point out that nobody liked the second season of House of the Dragon. So maybe the lesson here is maybe you should listen to George R. R. Martin, the author of all these stories.
No.
So I'm just pointing out that every time the showrunner stops listening to him, the quality of the show goes down.
Look, man,
well,
let me just say,
yeah.
season 2, I really respected the choice to have Damon wander around Heron Hall or whatever with the second unit for half the season by himself. That was
I
great.
think
Yeah.
it's brave to write a season of television where nothing happens.
It's deconstructing primetime television.
Yeah.
It's really brave.
Yeah.
And and George R. R. Martin said, yeah, we have like basically no working relationship now, and that story is no longer my story, is what he said, which is really bums me out to hear. And it's like, oh, it's Game of Thrones repeating itself all over again. And now with the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, he said, look, this time it's gonna be different. I'm picking Ira Parker. He gets it. And,
I will say, Jacob, that my relationship to this show is that I waited very long to recently. I literally just watched it 2 nights ago and sat and binged it all in one evening. But as I hit play, the ads that start are for season 3 of Hot D, where I'm like,
June.
oh yeah, there's that show that I can't remember why I didn't like how it ends or anything about it. And then like that trailer plays, that I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I have to be excited for this show. So it's almost like set up to fail, where I'm like, oh yeah, here's this Game of Thrones show. Do I like Game of Thrones? And then the thing that succeeds it, as we keep complimenting it, is that I'm like, oh, this is like the smallest entry into this big world possible, and it just holds your hands into it the whole way through, and I love that about it.
Yeah, it's a refreshing change of pace. It's almost a slice of life story within this huge world, high fantasy world, right? It's just about a guy and another little guy, and it's very simple story.
No, yeah. The way it contrasts the other shows and material, because like those are all about the great lords and the kings and queens and the Game of Thrones, literally. And this is just from, as a hedge knight, the perspective of the small folk. And you don't get a lot of that. Maybe you get a random wildling here and there, but like this is how the regular people are living and how they perceive the nobility and how the nobility perceive them. It's great.
Yeah, and
I love Game of Thrones for the politics, which are like, this like web that you're trying to follow. But the fact that this thing's like, what if it had none of that? It's so much more digestible too.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, it's playing into that. Yeah, it's getting at the themes of what George R. R. Martin was always trying to do with The Song of Ice and Fire, which is good people existing in a world, a cruelly realistic world where bad things happen all the time, and you just have to do the best you can and try to be a good person, not for any kind of reward, but just to be a good person. And that's kind of what Dunk is all about.
Yeah, we meet Dunk in the first episode. His master, Sir Arlen, has just died. I wish you hadn't died, and he's like, what am I going to do? But he has this idea of knighthood as you take an oath to protect the weak. And time again in Game of Thrones, we see highborn knights and stuff who are just total shitheads. Like Jaime Lannister just shit all over the small folk, right? But so Dunk has this idea that there is a nobility in that honor that really other knights don't have, and some of the characters in this see that spirit and are like, you know what? We might need more of this attitude in Westeros, even if you're just a nobody. Like, I like what you stand for, Dunk, and that's kind of the theming.
Being a knight, taking the vows of a knight is supposed to mean something. And in the world of Game of Thrones, there's plenty of bad characters that are knights or in important positions. And it's kind of, in a way, a mirror of our world, where you can be like a total sociopath and be extremely successful in your career, in your life, whatever. You can be president of the United States. But to be a good person is in itself like its own reward, even when it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, and that kind of principle as well. Like I'd liken this to he's Superman. He's the new Superman. Like, kindness is punk rock. Like, doing the right thing to do the right thing. Yes.
The edit with Iggy Pop's punk rocker song.
Punk rocker.
Yeah.
But I was thinking of some of those vibes too. Like there's
just
a dunk rocker, right? Yeah. So I like that his character is kind of a bright spot in a dark world, and that's where they're kind of attacking this whole story from.
And we've seen this with Jon Snow. Characters like that, even
Ned Stark got paid for it.
Ned Stark, yeah,
and
he sort of paid for his naivete and his honor in this cruel world that they live in. Right.
Yeah, and then he's trying to go to a tourney. What do I do with his life? So his idea is, if I can go to the tournament, maybe win some of the matchups and then make a name for myself. Maybe some lord will hire me into his service and I can like work as a knight, and that's how I can get by now.
He's the
That's kind of his
squire
plan.
to a hedge knight named Sir Arlen of Pennytree. In the world of Game of Thrones, a hedge knight is sort of an unaffiliated knight who kind of wanders around and takes whatever odd jobs they can as a knight, and maybe they'll enter into a lord's service for a while. But they go from hedge to hedge. They kind of live out in the
They
in the
own no
brush.
lands, really.
Right.
Yeah. They're just kind of roaming
They're
around.
not from a famous house. They don't have a noble last name. They're just usually some peasant or someone commoner that was did something in some battle, and a lord recognized him and made him a knight, right?
Mhm.
And there's this sort of thing going over the whole thing where it's sort of insinuated, never outright shown one way or the other, but Dunk was never actually knighted by Sir Arlen of Pennytree. He took him on as a squire as a boy, followed him around, and he grew into a young man, but Sir Arlen died before he ever knighted him. It's not outright stated, I guess, in the show, but it's pretty heavily insinuated that he was never actually
It's
knighted.
heavily implied, and then that brings again some of the theming of what makes a knight. Is it the oath or is it the deeds? Right? Is he more of a knight than these who swore the oath
action.
and don't follow it? Right? And I like that aspect
Absolutely.
of this.
Yeah,
I like it
the
a lot.
truest knight of them all was not actually knighted.
Yeah, I think that's great. So that's my headcanon, but they do seem to lean into like heavily implying that that is the case. He was never really knighted, but by behaving as a knight should, he attains that status just through his deeds, right? I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
As a
So he's going to an attorney at Ashford Meadow, and on the long way, he goes to an inn, and he meets who he thinks is the stable boy there, a little strange bald kid.
Yep.
And this is our titular Duncan Egg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so he gives him the horses. He goes to the inn. He's like, the kid's got a bit of an attitude talking to him, but he's like, you want to claw it in the ear or whatever he keeps saying,
What? I'll give you a
And
clout in the air.
he says his Dunk's question is like, do you watch this stables boy? And Egg's response is like, the whole lot could be mine if I wished, or something like that, right? Yeah, I could if I wanted. The whole lot could be mine. And he's like, I'll pop your ears. Shut up, you moron. Like that.
Give him the oats.
My favorite part. He's like,
Again,
my
there's some
horse, you
signs.
fucking idiot.
There's some signs here of Egg's true identity, which will be revealed. And it's sort of, I mean, it's a twist in a way, but it's also revealed like halfway through the show. So it's not so much a twist as it is just a plot.
Do we want to throw that out now or wait until it shows up in the show? I think it would help for discussion's sake to spoiler.
Yeah. I think we should say, watch
the end of episode 3
before you listen to this.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be talking spoilers. So, spoilers for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Of course, Egg is short for Aegon Targaryen. He's a Targaryen prince.
And we know.
Have you anchored us in time and space yet, Jacob? Where?
Yes, let me give you some context.
What is this?
Which Aegon is this?
And yeah, because there's so many characters for this whole series where when we say their last name, I'm going to be like, explain how he's so and so's grandfather or something. I don't really understand.
Would love to, Colin.
Because we have an Aegon in Hot D too. So
we do.
Like,
as they say in the show, there's been 5
Yeah.
Aegons. Again, Targaryens
It's
love to
insane.
reuse the same names, but it's
Daemon.
again based on real royals
It's a
from
King
like
Edward
stuff,
situation,
John,
yeah.
Richard, Louis,
Henry.
So Aegon is like their John or whatever, right? Aegon the Conqueror. Obviously, that's a very common name. So Targaryens throughout the years are like, if I name my baby Aegon, he'll become famous and important, just like Aegon the Conqueror.
He'll be famous. He'll be the 12th Aegon. It's like you people are insane.
Right.
Viserys, all kinds of different Targaryen names are reused. But so he is Aegon, the son of Prince Maekar, who is the son of the current king in this time period, which is King Daeron the Good. Daeron II, I should say.
I like that.
Yeah, he's called Daeron the Good because he was the king who actually brought Dorne into the fold of the Seven Kingdoms. Now, to give you some context, when Aegon the Conqueror came over from Valyria, he conquered all of Westeros with his dragons, except for Dorne, which is the southernmost deserty area of Westeros, and
Mhm.
they held out because of they know the terrain there so well. That Aegon wasn't able to conquer Dorne even with his dragons. They just kind of hid anytime he would come, and he would burn their castles and stuff, and they would just move to a different castle. And so they evaded him for like 150 years. And finally, they brought Dorne in the fold through diplomacy with King Daeron the Good, who married the princess of Dorne, and finally brought them into the Seven Kingdoms. So they're the newest, even in Game of Thrones, they're the most recent addition to the Seven Kingdoms in general. They used to be an independent kingdom for like 200 years during Targaryen rule.
Gotcha.
So, and actually that's important that Daeron the Good is married to a Dornish princess, which is why Prince Baelor, his firstborn son, his heir, has dark hair. He doesn't have the traditional Targaryen silver hair because he
And we see a
favors his
kid
mother's
later
side
who's
more.
got like all black curly hair, and then he's got like three
Yeah.
little like things
So
in the
that's
back where I was like,
Prince
what
Valar,
the
his son.
Yep.
That's Baelor's son, Prince Valar. He has dark hair with a streak of silver.
Yeah.
And again, genetics is like a very important thing in Game of Thrones, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you look like your mother, not your father, or whatever. Like, obviously, that's a big plot point with Joffrey.
Kill him.
Yeah. But sometimes, yeah, obviously Targaryens married their sisters for a long time and did incest because they're trying to keep the bloodlines pure. But they would also, over time, they would marry different houses for diplomacy reasons and things like that. So the bloodlines were a little bit diluted. And so that's how you get Prince Baelor, who has dark Dornish features, versus Prince Maekar, who obviously favors the Targaryen side more with his silver hair.
Remember what are those things we got in Hot Tea? We called them like dragon seeds or whatever.
Yeah. Or the those are the
Classic.
like Targaryen bastards.
Yeah, the
that are,
bastards.
commoners.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I would love to be one of
recruiting to
these
ride dragons
assholes.
and stuff.
Who,
Yeah.
me? Like one silver hair coming down.
Right. And of course, if you have any Targaryen blood, you could potentially be a dragon rider, right? So
Right. And it's my understanding that this takes place, I think Ag at one point is telling a story or so. He's doing a dialogue about the Blackfire Rebellion has just been quelled.
yes.
Those were the bastards who
Blackfire
tried to
Rebellion.
rise up, correct?
So,
Now,
yes.
again, anchor us here, because I
will.
think they say the name Daemon, right? Is that our Daemon's Rebellion?
Different Daemon, but it's Daemon
Okay.
Blackfire. Yeah, again, they like to reuse names, right?
So that's Doctor Who, and Hot D is that Daemon.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a different Daemon, though. But
Right.
So,
An ancestor.
So King Daeron the Good, current king of Westeros, his father, also named Aegon, was the king before him. He was Aegon the
If I was a
Fourth.
betting man.
And he was called Aegon the Unworthy because he was like basically a huge piece of shit, like one of the worst Targaryen kings in all their history. And he had a bunch of bastard children with a bunch of different women. And on his deathbed, he decided to legitimize all of his bastards, meaning basically throwing the entire Targaryen line of succession into chaos. His heir was Daeron, the current king. But his other son, Daemon Blackfire, who is a bastard, because he was legitimized by Aegon, he decides, you know what, I should be king. And this causes another, similar to the Dance of the Dragons, another sort of Targaryen civil war called the Blackfire Rebellions. And there's actually like 4 different Blackfire Rebellions over the years because all these different Blackfires kept going like, no, I should be king, and trying to like overthrow the Targaryens. And so
they really could benefit from Maury in this universe.
So
that's what they needed.
Previously to this show, basically they had just put down the first Blackfire Rebellion, which is Daemon Blackfire, and so Prince Baelor actually sort of became a hero fighting the Blackfires and kind of overthrowing and making sure that they don't succeed in overthrowing the Targaryens. So there's a lot of resentment for the Blackfires at this time of like they're pretenders, they're trying to take the Targaryen crown and all this stuff.
And this is the aftermath kind of battle stuff that we see young Dunk and Rafe are like pillaging the battlefield. That's like the fallout of the Blackfire Rebellion.
Okay. He's like, we're not taking that Blackfire. Like the war's over.
That's right.
Not taking Blackfire.
Garbage out of here.
Yeah.
Try to sell me your Civil War pennies.
Yeah, get that out of here.
Oh.
So that's Daemon Blackfire. And again, there's a sort of genetic component to it where Daemon Blackfire looks like a traditional Targaryen, long silver hair, Targaryen features, versus Prince Baelor, who looks more like a Dornishman because of his mom. And so it's even though he's the true born Targaryen versus the bastard. So very interesting stuff there.
That's very interesting.
And actually,
I
the
see.
next season we'll get more into the history of the Blackfire Rebellion and stuff. Hint, hint. I won't spoil too much about that.
Interesting.
There's another character called Bloodraven, who's Brynden Rivers, who's another Targaryen bastard, a Blackfire, but he's a Targaryen loyalist, so he sides with the Targaryens. And Bloodraven, he's called that because he has like a birthmark, on his face that looks like a red bird or something. He actually becomes what we know as the three-eyed crow. Brand.
Okay.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
All right.
Eventually.
All right.
Okay, it's all making sense.
But I think the second season of the show.
So
will go into that more.
we're the Tale of Dunk and Egg. We're like 100 years ahead of traditional.
About 90 years prior to the events in Game of Thrones. So it's between House of Dragon time and Game of Thrones time, but closer to Game of Thrones time.
Now,
and
is this a huge spoiler? I saw somebody who pointed out, I don't think this is official, but I think this is a huge like theory, is that Sir Dunk the Tall, his bloodline goes on to be Brienne of Tarth's bloodline, and that's why she's such a big old lady.
Yeah, there's a hint in that show too when Lionel Baratheon is like, "Come back to Storm's End with me. Have you ever been to Tarth?" And that's like a little hint at that Brienne of Tarth is a relation of Sir Dunk the Tall. But I need to. So I'm going to just tell you. So basically, both Dunk and Egg become very important people within the history of Westeros later on in life. And I just want to tell you because it's sort of a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler for anything that's going to happen in the show because it's many years later. So is that all right if I just tell you?
As long as it's not going to spoil the show, I guess I'm okay.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's important. I don't think it'll ever
they
be
time travel at some point.
No, so Aegon Targaryen is the fourth son of a fourth son, right? So he's very low down in the line of succession, right? Because he's Maekar is the youngest son of Daeron, the king, and he's the youngest son of four of Maekar. But due to reasons, Aegon Egg eventually does become king of Westeros.
That's wild.
That fortune teller lady kind of sets that up. Like, oh, you're going to be richer than any Targaryen. Yeah.
And I don't think knowing this spoils anything. I think it just kind of deepens your understanding of the characters. But Aegon, when he becomes a man, becomes king of Westeros due to reasons where basically everyone ahead of him in the line of succession dies. So he becomes known as Aegon the Unlikely. So we have Aegon the Unworthy. Now we have Aegon the Unlikely because he's the fourth son of a fourth son. No one ever expected him to become king. And he's a really good king, as it might, not surprise you.
That's
Mr. Irrelevant.
He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
But that is never directly a plot of any Game of Thrones book is his leadership period, right?
No, because the Dunk and Egg stories are all him as a young boy.
Okay.
Later in life, he does become king. Hinted at, with the fortune teller, and Sir Duncan the Tall, joins the King's Guard when he becomes king.
That's nice.
That is
he
nice.
becomes like his main guy. He's like, well, you did like raise me or whatever. That's cool.
Well, that sold beef. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And I will say this will probably blow your minds, but both these characters are mentioned in Game of Thrones, the show, at various times.
I remember they're reading a book about great knights, and they're like, even Sir Duncan the Tall's in here.
Joffrey and Jaime,
really?
when Joffrey's kind of being a dick to Jaime and emasculating him. There's the big book of the King's Guard that has every knight that was ever in the King's Guard, and he's reading it, and he's like, look at all these accomplished knights. Sir Duncan the Tall, 4 pages for Sir Duncan. He must have been a great man. Jaime says, yeah, so they say. So he's a famous person within Westeros history to the people of Game of Thrones.
That's funny.
But so Aegon the Unlikely does become king, and in fact, so in the show, Aerys, the Mad King, Daenerys' father, the one that was overthrown by Robert Baratheon, is Aegon's son.
Okay.
Now in the books, he's his grandson. But in the show, for some reason, they removed an entire generation of Targaryens. I don't know why. Maybe to simplify things.
Weird.
But so in the books, he's his grandson. In the show, he's his son. Meaning, yes, Daenerys Targaryen is Egg's granddaughter.
That's
and Jon
wild.
Snow is his great grandson.
And she would take care of the dragon eggs. It's full circle.
Yeah, Yeah.
Because of
Yo,
course,
does
Jon
he ever
Snow's
get a
radar is-
dragon?
No, because the dragons are died out by this time.
Until Daenerys
Right,
gets them
right,
back.
right.
Yeah.
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 So that's what
That's a
Hot D is
bummer.
all about. Hot D is about the end of the dragons, right? Because
Yeah.
they all died out in this big civil war where they're fighting each other, and all these dragons keep dying.
And Hot
um,
Tea,
yeah.
remind me again, that's like 100 years before Dunk and Egg. So it's 100,
Yeah.
100 modern time. Okay.
Essentially, yeah. So the Targaryens ruled
Okay.
Westeros for about 300 years, from Aegon the Conqueror to Game of Thrones. It's about 300 years. This is like 200 years in, so like 100 years before Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
Yes, and
Okay.
so
Took 200 years for one of them known to be known as the nice one. That sucks.
yeah, there's a mixture. Like there's some really bad Targaryen kings. There's some good
Yeah.
Targaryen kings. Again, right now
He
we have King
tried
Daemon the
being good, and we recognize him for that. Oh,
well, that'll
great.
usually
Okay.
screw you over. Look at Viserys, you know.
But I do want to tell you about how Egg dies, which is again foreshadowed in the show with when he talks to the fortune teller, right? And there's this ominous thing where she's like, "You're gonna die in like fire and stuff."
Worms will eat your guts, and
so-
everybody hates you. Yeah, it's very heavy.
Yeah.
Cool.
As king, Aegon becomes, like a lot of Targaryens, obsessed with trying to bring the dragons back, right? Because the dragons all died out. The Targaryens
Classic
obsessed with
move.
trying to bring the dragons
Mhm.
back. There's this incident called the Tragedy at Summerhall, which is Summerhall is basically like the vacation home of the Targaryens, right? And while he's king, he goes to Summerhall and he's trying to bring the dragons back. Basically, ends up starting a big fire, which kills him, kills Sir Dunk, kills like his entire family. And it's known as
No.
No, that
Yeah,
makes me sad.
but
now.
there's another theory that Dunk survives the tragedy at Summerhall, which is somewhat confirmed by the show with Darren's dreams. Remember when he says, I dreamt of you. There was a giant dragon was on top of you, but the dragon was dead, but you were alive. So that's hinting that he might survive the tragedy of Summerhall.
Okay. Well, and she does say like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're going to be richer than a Lannister and do all this." So she doesn't say that you're going to die tragically in her fortune telling, which may further compound that idea.
Right.
All
That's
right.
a great moment where that fortune teller is like, yeah, you will be king. Like she basically just says you're going to be king and stuff. And he's like, what are you talking about? Why
No,
would
the
you
best
say
part
that?
is Doug's reaction is, ah!
Yeah.
Very funny.
He still thinks he's an orphan boy from
It's
Fleabottom
good.
at that time.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So this all
just
to
remember,
come.
Daenerys is
Dunk's
Egg's
granddaughter. Egg's granddaughter.
No,
Sorry.
Egg's granddaughter.
Right.
Wow.
And of course, Lionel Baratheon, Robert Baratheon is direct descendant of Lionel Baratheon. So keep that in mind when you see, Sir Lionel Baratheon and Egg together. One day, Lionel's grandson will overthrow Egg's son as king in Game of Thrones.
So
kind
a
of
lot
fun.
going on there, yes.
Connection.
Okay, so the context relevant for the show's setup is then that, yes, we have a highborn Egg pretending to be a lowborn to squire for Sir Dunk. And so as we watch these first couple episodes before the reveal, especially on a second viewing, you really do see the difference because, like, Dunk has no idea how the tournaments work. And he's like, oh, only highborns get to joust on the first day, so you can't do it. He's like, oh, so I've been worried for nothing. Like, he really understands how the
Right.
jousts work, who the famous knights are. And I didn't notice that on the first viewing, but on second viewing, you're like, oh, there's clearly more to this kid than meets the eye.
Yeah. There's a lot of little foreshadowing moments. He knows way more than any orphan from Fleabottom would know. He knows all the names of knights and things like that.
Well, he can
And
read. I mean,
he can
you
read.
know,
True.
Every time Dunk asks about like his parentage and stuff, he kind of deflects, right? He says, "Oh, what would your mother say?" or whatever. He says, "Well, my mother's dead." And then he says, "I'll take you home if you're not good." He's like, "Well, you'd have to go all the way to King's Landing." He's like, "Oh, you're from Fleabottom, are you?" And he doesn't really respond to that, right?
That's right,
Um,
yeah.
So he's not outright lying, but he's definitely hiding his true identity from Dunk. He
Yeah.
just wants to fit in and wants to sort of see the world through a commoner's eyes. Like he's kind of tired of being Targaryen. He hates his older brother, his evil older brother, right? And he's like, this sucks. I want to just like be a normal kid. I don't want to be a Targaryen prince. Let me shave my head so people don't know that I have Targaryen hair, right?
Why are
Yeah.
you doing that? So I won't look like you.
Yeah.
That's right. And who's the brother, the drunk one? Is that Darren? So we have Arion and Darren. So
Darren is the current king, Darren the Good. So he's named after Darren. Again, they like to repeat names.
Which one had the dream?
Darren.
Darren. He's So basically, he's the firstborn son. He's a drunk fuck up who also has like dreams that come true. So he's, some Targaryens are crazy, some are evil, some have dreams that come true. And so he's kind of haunted by his dreams, which makes him like a drunk fuck up, right? And the second born son, Aerion, known as Aerion Brightflame, is the evil piece of shit one, right?
Yeah.
And then he has a third brother. Now this might blow your minds. They mentioned a little bit. Oh, they sent the third brother to become a maester. Now
That's
this
right.
brother, what's his name? Aemon Targaryen, Maester Aemon, the old maester at Castle Black.
Oh, right.
Remember the reveal that he's a Targaryen? He
Mhm.
is Egg's brother.
Wow.
Aemon Targaryen. Yeah.
Okay. And so Darren's a drunk fuck up. He doesn't want to do the tournament anyway, so he's not paying attention to Egg. That's how Egg sneaks away on a mutton cart, meets up with Dunk, and Dunk
Yeah.
kind of
So
agrees,
Darren-
okay, I'll let you squire me since you're here.
Right. So they're at this inn, which is like a day's ride from the tourney. Darren's supposed to ride in the tourney. He doesn't want to do that. He just wants to stay at this inn and get drunk. So he's like, I'm going to hide out at this inn until the tourney's over. And Egg stays with him, but he shaves his head. And then he's like, he meets Dunk, and that's when their relationship starts. And you see that when Baelor and Maekar come into the tourney, and they're like, oh, Maekar's 2 sons are missing and stuff. That's
Yeah.
kind of in the background for a couple episodes. They're like,
Right.
2 Targaryen princes are missing. Yeah.
They've gone to war for less than that. That's right. You do hear that in the background a lot once they show up to the tournament, the Targaryens. Oh, he's just
Right.
mad because what does he say? I hope they won't be found dead is like what he says to Maekar.
Oh, yeah,
It's
it's
like,
why would you say that?
Some
Yeah.
real Savannah Guthrie stuff going on. But they make this deal together, and then they see a shooting star, and he's like, "Oh!" And Egg's like, "No, it's good."
They say a shooting star
it's
brings
very
luck. Why
reassuring.
would see it? And he's like, I'll give you a clout in the ear or whatever. And he says, oh, so, but then, Egg says like, all the other knights and stuff are in their tents, right? So they can't see it. He says, so the luck is ours alone then. And
Yeah.
that's such a nice moment. That's the
I
end
like
of
that
episode
moment.
1, right?
I
Yeah.
really like it.
and it's a hint of, again, his history. Like, he knows that the knights are staring up at silk instead of sky. Like, the verbiage he uses, it's like shows an intimate
Right.
understanding of how the Highborns are living. Yeah.
And again, just real quick, I'm sitting in bed. I'm watching this whole thing. It cuts to after that nice moment, the song that I know, da 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 da, and I'm realizing like I'm not gonna follow any of these people, plot murder to overthrow anything. Like it just seems like all we're going to do is go to a tournament, and I'm like, okay, like that's great. I'm like that's so easy. That's so nice.
That's part of why I love it. The first couple episodes, it's just like this slice of life of like going to the tourney, meeting different people. Of course, it does get a little more complicated with Targaryens and stuff with the reveal of who Egg is, and then there's this whole Targaryen stuff.
got a
But
great
it
pace,
starts
though.
out so nice and easy.
Well-
you fall in love with these 2 characters and their relationship, and so you're like completely bought in by the time of the reveal of who Egg is.
It also has what I would imagine is the payoff to if you were just some normie who is like, the end of Hunger Games is they play a game. You know what I mean? Like they keep talking about this tournament, and I'm like, well, I guess there'll just be like a nice little jousting tournament. And then when you get like reveal like what the tournament is at the end, you're like, oh no, it makes sense that the whole season's been building towards this like insane conflict.
Yeah, especially
that wasn't
because
what the tourney was supposed to be. It was just going to be a normal tourney, right, with jousting.
Right,
and stuff,
sure.
But because
And
of the
then
trial
it
by
becomes
combat.
the battle of the 7.
right,
Yeah.
and so much of this first couple episodes is Dunk just desperately trying to find one lord who will vouch for Pennytree to say that he's
Yeah,
the real
fun,
knight
man.
and this counts, just so he can even enter. And
I
eventually,
love this stuff so much.
Baelor
Yeah.
is eventually the one who's like, I'll hear you out, dog. I do remember Sir Arlen.
I don't
And even
care.
Maekar's like, why do you remember some piece of shit hedge knight? He's like,
Yeah.
I like to know my enemy. Like, I'm a nice dude. And you see that in this opening interaction. The
I
Baelor's
love
a good
Baelor
guy.
in the show too. Like he doesn't have too many scenes, but you kind of get his character immediately, and you get the difference between like him and Maekar and some of the other Targaryens. Like you kind of get what they're all about, and you're like, oh, Baelor, he's an all right guy. Like he's a fair, as far as Targaryens go, he's like a very fair and reasonable guy.
No, just that one interaction with Maekar, who's worried about his son. Maekar's being kind of a dick as soon as they roll into that building. And then Baelor's like,
Yeah.
sorry, man, we're the intruders here. What do you have to say, buddy? Like, you can
Right.
tell the difference between him and other Targaryens.
And to see him
This
like
show
him
is-
versus Aerion, yeah.
The show does a good job of like the more inbred looking the Targaryen looks, the more I
more insane
distrust
they
them
are.
as
Yeah.
like a normal human being. That like when
Right.
it cuts to like the all white ones with like red
Aaron.
eyes, they're like, "We must kill him." I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, E.T. Like, go into the corner over here, please.
And you kind of get the common view of Targaryens from like Raymond Fossaway when he goes on that rant about the Targaryens, like, don't, they're incestuous aliens, like they come over
They're
and think they can
gross.
rule us. Yeah.
We were
That
here longer
guy's
than they
great.
were. Possibly's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So many characters. I can't wait to shout out the guy who's just got the dyed mustache, who's obsessed with bees.
Oh, Beesbury, yeah.
Yeah.
Take heart,
Beesbury.
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 Yeah, the guy who dies
How do you
immediately in
think
the
that
trial
the
by combat.
bees follow him in the grave? Magic, some
That's
say.
bee magic.
Bee
Oh, that-
magic.
All that fighting's turned your
Um,
brains to applesauce. She's great, Rowan. I like her a lot too.
Yeah.
So Dunk gets to the tourney. He meets a couple different characters. He meets the Fossaways, Raymond and Stefan Fossaway. He meets Lionel Baratheon, the Laughing Storm. A character
Goddamn.
who's fleshed out more in the show than he is in the book, and his relationship with Dunk is a lot more fleshed out, which I like. And he's basically like the rock star of Westeros.
What?
Yes.
Have we introduced like a Jack Sparrow type yet?
He's
You're
got
like,
that
well,
energy,
no,
yeah.
I guess not. It's like,
Yeah.
what if there's a guy who just like everyone tried to fuck him, and then you remember that that our big fat Baratheon did have that twink ass brother who
Renly,
loved to fuck.
yeah.
It's like,
Renly,
I
yeah.
guess this has always been
Renly.
in their bloodline.
The Baratheons, yes, and it is insinuated that Lionel is like gay or bi.
Yeah.
He says he's
basically
like,
in
I've
love with
celebrated with everyone. He says, and you're like, that's great.
Yeah. Basically, Dunk is like this common hedge knight that comes into his tent one night when they're partying and they get drunk together. And he's like, "You're all right, hedge knight." Like,
You're my best friend. What if I
This is-
treated you like my brother?
This I have a 3D printed a little Baratheon crown for my microphone
that.
for this episode, but
Yeah.
Incredible.
Lionel may be my favorite character in Game of Thrones, period, right now. Like, he doesn't get a
I
ton
love
of scenes
that.
either, but the scenes he's in are great. Like, when Dunk shows up and he's like, you either want to carry favor or you want to kill me. So what did you bring me? What did you bring me here? And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't bring you shit. So like, what the fuck are you doing in my tent? He's like, supper.
Oh.
And he's just like, you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. Fuck it, you know?
yeah,
Um,
Lionel is great,
he's
and
great.
the actor that plays him, I said when I first started watching, I was like, they have like a Timu Oscar Isaac in this show.
He looks so familiar. That's a great way to
Yeah.
put him.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he from anything? Or any of these people from anything? I looked up, of course,
Daniel
Dunk
Ings-
is a
Ings.
rugby player. Where
Oh,
they're
wow.
like,
Yeah,
yes,
so I
we
wanna
look for
talk
someone
about-
who's 9 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
The
You're like, yeah,
casting
okay.
of Dunk and Egg is one thing that I think totally makes or breaks the show. Like, if they didn't nail this casting, this show wouldn't work as well as it does. And it's Peter Claffey as
Mhm.
Dunk and Dexter Soul Ansel as Egg. And Peter Claffey is a retired professional rugby player who just got into acting a couple years ago. Obviously, this is his big breakout role,
Mhm.
but he's so perfect as Dunk. And then Dexter Soul Ansel, who one of the most impressive like child acting performances I've ever
Oh,
seen.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's killing it with as Egg. And again,
Complex language, yeah, a lot of emotion he's got to portray.
yeah. Like when he's like thinking about killing his brother and stuff, like
Bro.
he's
Oh.
killing it. So great casting there.
Voice
And again,
thing.
even with the supporting characters across the board, like I think this is great casting in this show.
Yeah, yeah, even Fossaway, Raymond, like what a perfect casting for that. Like the little cousin, and then like he's just so dopey, but he becomes Dunk's
I'm a
first
lord
friend.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Imagine meeting a guy at a tourney for a couple days, basically becoming best friends, and then offering to fight to the death because you're such good friends to protect his honor. That's what Game of Thrones is all about.
Yep.
And in the time of Game of Thrones, in A Song of Ice and Fire, there are the Red Apple Fossaways and the Green Apple Fossaways, two different branches of this house. This is the event that causes that split where he becomes the Green Apple Fossaways, which becomes
That's
its own branch of
insane.
the house. Yeah,
Better be an unripe green one than a wormy red one, you know?
right. They're the Apple Lords because they own like cider orchards and stuff.
We're expanding the
The
cider
Fossaways.
business. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
We got the bees,
Uh,
the cider. It's
God,
great.
God bless.
Yeah.
So he's doing the tournament. He's meeting people. He's seen some of the initial jousts, and then there's a puppet show, being led by this Dornish woman. The character's name I can't remember.
Hansel Too Tall, they call her. The boys
Hansel
call me
Too Tall. Not too
the way
tall
she's described in the novella, she's
for what?
much more taller than the average woman, so she's called Hansel Too Tall. Yeah,
She's
you like
performing
too tall
the
at all.
most complicated Circus du Soleil show that Westeros has ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's also an artist. She paints the puppets, we find out, and we learn that Sir Dunk needs a new symbol for his shield, so he kind of commissions her to, can you paint, and then I love that Egg, having spent a little bit of time with Dunk, kind of suggests all this stuff. Put an elm tree and a shooting star, and maybe a sunset.
Yeah.
The old man loved those.
Yeah.
And just picking all those little symbols for a sigil is
Too
great.
much.
Yes, an elm tree will serve. Yeah, with a shooting star above, and the field is sunset because Sir Arden always liked the sunset.
Wonder what the morrow will bring. Yeah, exactly. It's perfect. It's perfect. Like, we're kind of joking, but it's great.
I mean, so much of this, so much of this show for me is like about the Sir Arlen and Dunk relationship mirroring the Dunk and Egg. Like, it's all about father figures, what it means to sort of have that relationship and like to try to raise a son or just a child and try to do the best you can. And so Dunk, who was raised by Arlen, who wasn't a perfect person at all, like he did the best he could. And so Dunk is appreciative of that, and he wants to do the best he can, right?
In his heart, he was a good man, right?
Yeah.
I think if
like
it
George Lucas
ends
said,
where
it's like poetry, it rhymes, right?
if your squire is willing to bury you in death, you have succeeded. It means you weren't a guy who was like constantly just like what does Dunk say? Like you never beat me where I didn't deserve it. Except that one time I did not steal that pie.
Yes.
Is what he says. He like doubles down on it. He's like, that was that other guy who did that.
That was
You
right.
see that montage of Arlen like hitting him and stuff. It's like
Arlen just like smacks the shit out of him.
Yeah.
he wasn't a perfect guy. Like he was an old drunk who like again like
when you see who he was and you realize that basically he was Don Quixote, like it.
Right.
Like, you do really get an insight into what Dunk's life was.
But then again, you see the flashback of Dunk as a kid and how they met, and it all kind of comes together in such a great way where it's like, of course he would want to follow Arlen after all that. And Arlen kind of takes him in and raises him, even though he's no blood of his, he's not his son by blood, but he takes him in anyways because he's just this orphan boy. But he never knights him. And that's something that's always bothered Dunk. Why didn't you knight me? Did you think I would leave? Yeah.
A knight finishes his story.
Well,
maybe the best part of the season to me, honestly. I love that moment.
It's like so funny and heartbreaking all at once. Yeah,
it is.
Because he never gets
like
that
the
answer.
Perfect summary. Yeah.
You can also see that as a sort of a little bit of a veiled jab at George R. R. Martin. A true knight always finishes the story. So get fucking writing.
And then he immediately dies once he finishes it. Yeah. But so I guess our narrative thrust is that we're at one of these puppet shows, and while Dunk is hanging out with Raymond Fosway, Egg is at a puppet show in which they're showing a dragon being defeated, puppet. And that's anti-state propaganda. The dragon must never lose, and so Aerion sees this. Yeah.
So again, Aerion Targaryen, another son of Maekar, older brother to Egg, who's like your classic just piece of shit Joffrey-esque type character.
80s villain.
He was already a dick.
Fucking Johnny Lawrence.
Yeah, he's Johnny Lawrence. Like once he meets Dunk at the stables and he's like,
dragon.
But he's like, yo, put my horse away. He's like, oh, I'm actually a knight. And he's like, knighthood has fallen on sad times indeed. He's like already been a dick. So
that scene also has another of my favorite lines, which is just a one-off line of an extra where the kid bringing the horse in, he's like, are you Baelor Targaryen? And Dunk's like, no. Well, then would you get the fuck out of the way?
That's great. Great stuff.
But yeah, so there's this puppet show, and we should talk about like Egg and Dunk have been bonding. They go to the tourney together and they watch and they're cheering and stuff. They're just having a great time. They're cooking up goose eggs together, having a nice bacon and egg sandwich.
They make a Dunkin' Egg breakfast sandwich, and we've been talking about Dunkin' Donuts needs to jump on this.
That's right.
ASAP.
Dunkin' Egg Sando, yeah.
Goose egg, bacon, and bread. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, just because, Jacob, you mentioned that, like, this New Jersey fool loves to write, like, the Giants, and you told us that whole story about how isn't there, like, a kid named, like, Kermit D. Frog, or, like, whatever the hell his name is?
Oscar Tully and Grover Tully are two characters.
Those assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Is this truly a Dunkin' Egg like reference? Every time I see it, I'm like, what is he doing? What is this?
Well, Dunk. What's funny is Dunk is obviously short for Duncan, but Dunk doesn't even seem to realize that.
Yes, Dunkachino.
Al Pacino's Dunk.
It's not Al anymore. It's Dunk. Dunkachino.
Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Sir Dunkachino the Strong.
Oi.
So
can I get that in tall?
What's funny is when Egg says, "So what? Dunk is like short for Duncan, right?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I guess it is," because
it could be.
I don't think Dunk ever realized that before, because he was just called Dunk ever since he was a kid, as being an orphan boy in Flea Bottom,
right?
And so everyone just called him Dunk, and then later he's like, "Yeah, what's your name?" "Oh, Sir Dunk." "That's ridiculous." He's like, "Well, I guess it is Duncan." "Yeah, Sir Duncan the Tall."
Then also to point out Lionel, when he's first talking to him, he's like, "Do you slouch? Big people get punched in the face more. You ever been punched in the face?" And he's like, "The gods made you tall, so be tall." And I think that puts in his head, "Oh, Sir Duncan the Tall." Like, he's getting all this information from the people around him to form his identity. It's great.
And I thought you guys would really like Dunk as a character, because he's a very much a Samwise Gamgee type of character, right? He's a Samwise Gamgee.
I'm realizing how much this follows the tropes of New Kid in School. Like, this literally is well, you can't go over there. That's where the jocks hang out. It's like,
right.
I'll challenge you to the b-ball game. You got to get 7 other pals, and we'll go shirts versus skins.
This is a high school drama.
It's cool, dude. I love it, man.
You nailed it.
I just love the slice of life of it all. And, they have a tug of war where Lionel's like, "Come on, get in there."
I'm Egg. I'm the principal's son.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Taking a freshman
Everyone's
under
just
your wing.
treating Egg like a little kid, like a little orphan boy kid, not realizing who he really is. And he's having a great time. He loves just being a little commoner. And again, there's another scene where I love when they're just sitting there eating some food, and he's like, "I could be happy in a place like this." And Dunk's like, "You are in a place like this."
That's really nice.
He's like, "I could just settle down here and, raise a little flock or whatever, and swear an oath to my lord, take a beautiful wife, and have a family and all that." He's dreaming of this life outside of what's expected of him, which is to be a Targaryen prince and do all this stuff, right?
Just to be 18th in line. It's like, well, why put any pressure on yourself?
Well, and he says, I'll marry the second most beautiful daughter. And Dunk's, "Why the second most?" He's like, "Well, you would have married the first most beautiful daughter, right? Like, we're going to be friends forever." Yeah.
Oh.
And the graduate Dunk of Dunk trying to resist, like, growing too attached to this kid, but slowly, like, "You know what? This kid is, like, pretty cool. Like, I kind of like this kid. Like, I can kind of take him under my wing." Yeah. Like, "You can be my squire for the tourney, and then after we'll see." And that's all that's all Egg wants, is just to be a squire for a hedge knight. Like, I just love him. Like, such great characters.
No, and we get Darren comes in at a certain point. This is a little bit later, but he's like saying, "Hey man, my brother didn't used to be such a monster." And he's like, "Egg's no monster." And he's like, "No, Aryan, he used to like fishing." But then Egg tells us earlier that he likes fishing, so it's kind of the same. We'll make a man out of him too. So it's like,
but that part is also like him trying to deflect, because he's talking about Sir Donald of Duskendale, and he's like, because he who's a Kingsguard knight who's talked to Dunk earlier, and he's like, "I'm the son of a crabber" and stuff. He's like, "He's just the son of a crabber." He's like, Sir Donald of Duskendale, his father owns half the crabbing fleets in Westeros." And Dunk's like, "What?" He's like, "How do you know that?" And he's like, "Oh, I like fishing."
But to use the "I like fishing" line to be like, Aryan also liked fishing, and he turned out to be a huge piece of shit because he stayed with them at King's Landing. So it's like, maybe you don't want to have him grow up around us, is what Darren's saying to Dunk.
He's talking like, is madness inflicted upon us in the wound? It's nature versus nurture, right? And it's like, Aryan used to be a jolly little fellow just like Egg, and look how he turned out. And that's another thing Dunk is saying to Maekar later, like, you've seen what happened to Darren, and like basically all your other kids are fuck ups. Like, let me take your
Sucked,
last
yeah.
son and try to not make him a fuck up.
Show 'em the real world.
But let's talk crime and punishment.
Yes.
What do we do? Yep.
So there's this puppet show, and they've gone to the puppet show a couple times. Dunk clearly has a crush on this girl. Tansel too tall. You're not too tall for what? For puppets.
For puppets, yeah.
Um,
Egg saves
yeah.
him.
And Egg loves the puppetry and stuff. And
does.
so then one night, Dunk is out drinking with Raymond Fossaway, and Egg's watching the puppet show. He comes running in. Dunk, they're hurting her. He's hurting her. Arian's hurting her. And Dunk's like, what? Comes running in. And of course, because Arian was watching the show, the Dragonaut never lose. And he's basically assaulting this girl.
Yeah, he breaks her finger.
Yeah. And at this, Dunk sees this and just goes red and just runs over, starts beating the shit out of him, right? As he should.
Punches him in the face, kicks him in the face, a hand and a foot, some would say.
Yeah. So he's being a true knight and defending the innocent, but he's also laying a hand on a Targaryen, which is a big no-no. And so basically,
they're gonna stop his
he's
teeth out. They're like, "Yo, you loosened one of my tooth. I'm gonna crash out all yours." And as the guards are holding him down, we hear, "Stop!" I'm answering my father, and it's Little Egg. And then it's like, oh, it turns out he's the Targaryen.
And Dunk's immediately like, no, you stupid boy, they're gonna hurt you too. Like, run away. Like, don't do that. And he's like,
on my orders.
My brother.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the reveal, what have you done to your hair, boy? I didn't want to look like you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
So
Credits.
again, I'm watching this all in one sitting. I started at midnight. It's now 1:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I text you guys, ooh, I'm at the egg reveal or whatever. I'm 3 episodes into a 6-episode series, and this is where I make the choice, like, well, I'm not fucking stopping here. It's a fucking Friday night or a Saturday night or something. Like, we're fucking watching this
the
thing.
whole thing.
I'm hooked. Like, at this point, I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, same. Up to this point, I had not suspected it.
Reveal.
Right.
No.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys if you had any suspicions at this point.
No, because I think they do a great job of what we know about these little assholes is their weird hair. I'm not questioning for a moment why this weird alien kid has a shaved head. And I don't know. It just, I guess in my mind, it's like, what would that have meant anyways? And really for this, it really doesn't mean much either, other than great characterization. Like you said, it's not a twist. This gets them out of no danger. It doesn't like wrap up the story. It just adds flavor in a very interesting way.
And maybe one of the greatest narrative things ever is to have Aegon name somebody Egg. Like, it's right there, but like I didn't see it. I should have seen it, right?
It's so
but
obvious.
That's how good it is.
Like, oh,
it is.
Yeah. And again, there's signs there if you're looking for them. Like, again, so in the world of Westeros, commoners, the small folk, they say my lord, my lady, versus noble houses, they say my lord, my lady. And this was touched on in Game of Thrones when Arya was Tywin Lannister's cupbearer, remember? And he has that, if you're trying to pretend to be a small folk, you got to say my lord, not my lord. Which I love some of those interactions with Arya and Tywin way back in season 2 of Game of Thrones. So the signs were there. He knows so much about knights and the world around
the
him
noble
that
houses.
a common boy would know. The fortune teller scene, which is some ominous foreshadowing, like looking back, like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. So there was definitely signs there, but if you don't know it, like, you might not pick up on it, but on a rewatch, you'll be like, oh, it all makes sense.
He's singing like a whole song about the Blackfire Rebellion, when he's sitting up in that tree, and it's like, okay, he does know more than he's letting on.
That's about his grandfather, the king, versus his grand uncle, Daemon Blackfire, the Pretender. And his father fighting against the Blackfires and putting them down, putting down the rebellion and stuff. So
So suffice to say, on rewatch, the seeds are sown, and it's really fun to, on a second viewing, be like, oh man, this actually has so many more layers than I realized, but it works on an initial watch too. So anyway, I love the twist. And then now this sets up our big conflict where Dunk must pay for striking a Targaryen, which normally they'd take your hand and your foot. Or you can do trial by
Yeah.
combat, and here we have Balerion
Well-
counseling him like, look, here's your options, bro. You're kind of fucked. I don't know what's
Yeah.
worse. You could give up a hand or a foot, or you could try to fight him. I mean, it's
So-
up to you, you know?
I want to back a little bit. So next
Yeah.
episode starts. He's basically in prison, like
Oh, correct.
being held, right? They have a little conversation where Egg comes in. They have a little conversation. You lied about everything, even your name. I've never heard of Prince Egg. Oh, it's short for Aegon. Oh, what's your Aegon? How many Aegons have there been? Five Aegons.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and so then he goes to talk to Prince Baelor, and he says like basically Aerion wanted your head, but he won't get
Yep.
it. Instead, we're just gonna take your hand and your foot because you laid hands on a Targaryen. He's like,
Is
well, what am I
this-
supposed to do, right? You know,
Am I realizing the guy in their flashback who's abusing them, who's missing a hand, is the implication that he did something weird to a Targaryen?
who like the City Watch guy? that
Yeah,
killed-
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that guy.
Was he missing a
Yeah.
hand?
He's missing a hand, and he maybe has a limp too. Is he also missing a foot?
Hmm.
He's got the stub. He rubs his stump on her face at one point.
Oh, right.
It's
I mean,
horrible.
in Westeros, you can lose a hand for a lot of different.
Yeah,
reasons.
easy, pretty easy.
Like
yeah.
basically in Flea Bottom, if you're caught as if you're a thief, you lose the hand. If you're a rapist, you are gelded.
Mhm.
As we
Good.
see in Hot D.
Good.
Yeah,
That's
Yes.
what you get.
So they're not shy about punishments in Westeros. But yeah,
Yeah.
because he laid a hand and also a foot on a Targaryen prince, he must lose those hand and foot, or he can declare a trial by combat, which is we've seen in Game of Thrones a few times. We've seen the Mountain versus the Viper. We've seen Tyrion when Bran is his champion in the Vale of Arryn.
Mhm.
So we understand the concept of a trial by combat, where it's like
A 1v1.
the gods will decide. Yeah, you can 1v1. If you win, then the gods have favored you and you're innocent, basically. But there's a twist. So he declares a trial by combat. Aerion responds and says, okay, if it's a trial by combat, then it's going to be a trial of the seven. And they're like, what the fuck is a trial by seven? Well, it's an old custom. It hasn't been done in 50 years, but basically it's 7 versus 7 because, in the new gods of the Andals, it's all based in 7. There's 7 different figures, like the mother, the father, the
Right.
smith, the crone, the warrior, etc.
Now, but is it specifically that it has to be 7 knights versus 7 knights?
Yes. So, you have to find 6 other knights willing to fight with you. And that's a big thing because Dunk's like, I don't even know 6 other knights. He's like, well, if you can't come
Yeah.
up with 6, then you basically forfeit because you must be
That
guilty.
is bullshit.
Yeah.
Popularity contest.
Even Makar's like,
Right.
what the fuck are you doing, Aaron? Are you like too scared to face him alone? Like
Yeah.
Makar's upset that he invokes this, even as its
Yeah.
father. He's
Makar's
like,
like
kind
so
of a bitch move.
disappointed in his son throughout the show. He's just like, Arian, you're such a piece of shit, but you're like also my son, so I have to like, I'm trying to make you into a good Targaryen prince, but you're just like a piece of shit. And
Yeah.
so he's like, yeah, well, if this Sir Dunk can't find 6 other knights, I guess he's guilty then. So Dunk has to go out and be like, all right, I guess I got to find 6 other knights. What's funny is he doesn't even think about, like, he just met Sir Lionel Baratheon, and he doesn't even think to be like, oh, I could ask my new best friend Lionel Baratheon.
No, he doesn't think about it at once.
Which is
But
yeah,
also,
wild.
Egg here tells him that Darren, Maker, and Kingsguards are fighting for Aaron. So that team is like
Yeah.
cinched up already.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got 3 Kingsguard with them. They've got, Makar's going to fight on his side, their dad, and then Darren, his older brother, who also visits them that night. It's like, look, I'm a drunk. I'm sorry for getting you involved in all this. I'm just going to, I'm going to take a fall. Like, give me a hit early on. I'm just going to take a fall.
I'll just lay down.
I'll sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, great, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, but he also fucked over Dunk because his lie of like, basically he lies and
Right.
says that Egg was kidnapped at the inn by Dunk.
Yes.
And so that adds to the accusations against Dunk. And so he's like, look, I had to say something. I kind of let Egg go, and like, I can't get in trouble with my dad. So I'm sorry if I killed you with my lie, but that's kind of like not.
But
my-
also, I need to reiterate, I had a dream.
Yes.
You are the dragon. And it's
I
like,
do.
just
Yeah.
leave me alone.
I do like how complex. Like he's a shitty drunk, failure as a prince, but these dreams haunt him, and I like that he's at least noble enough to be like, look, Dunk, I know I fucked you over. Look, I did have a dream that there's a dragon and you overcome it. If that gets you killed, I'm sorry, but like I think you might be okay. And that's all I got.
Yeah,
for you.
he's like shitty in a different way than Aryan. Yeah.
What's the name of the one in Hot D? Helena. She's got the
Helena.
If you're a Targaryen who's got a touch of the tism, sometimes you get them dreams.
You see crazy dreams.
Hey, you get them dreamies.
Yeah,
depending on how spectrum you are,
even Daenerys
how
has
bad they are for
stuff
you.
like that in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So it's the thing with Targaryens, and then the Starks have like some of them. Sometimes Starks are just wargs, and they can warg into their wolf.
Yeah,
that's true. I forgot about the transformations.
Yeah, I forgot about warging. Honestly,
I like how unsupernatural this is. Besides the dreams, it's pretty grounded.
Same.
Yeah. There's no Night King.
Right.
Oh, it's the Night King. Can you imagine if Dunk had to fight the Night King? It's the little people. Oh.
That's one thing I love about the world of
Blimey.
A Song of Ice and Fire is that it's a world in which magic does exist and actually used to exist in much larger quantities, but it's like all the magic is like slowly leaving the world. So it's like a post-magic world where it's like there's still touches of magic, but it's not what it used to be. Just like the dragons and the Targaryens aren't what they used to be and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, so Dunk has to find his champions. He goes to his new buddy, Raymond Fossaway. He's like, I don't know what to fucking do. And then Stefan Fossaway, his cousin, who is a knight. So Raymond is a squire for his cousin Stefan. And Stefan's like this kind of asshole-ish like guy. But he's like, look, I'll fight for you. Sure, why not? Look, Dunk, you know what? I'll protect you.
You won't get, die under my watch. Yeah.
I'll get 3 of my friends to join your cause. Like, don't worry about anything. So he goes out. He's like, Dunk's like, oh, this is great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Ring. Special telegram coming in. Actually, I had to switch sides because I got a sweetheart deal. Goodbye. Click.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
That's the ultimate betrayal the next morning. But so Dunk's feeling a little better, and then also Egg sneaks out. Egg and Darren sneak out to have a little talk with him, and Egg's like, "Look, I know people. Like I can go.
I know knights. People. I've met a knight before.
There's this guy called Beesbury."
And what's funny is we see Beesbury earlier too, like when they're partying with Lionel, like in his tent. Like Beesbury's there too, like when they're dancing and stuff.
He's like, "I'm Humphrey Beesbury." Oh, I hope you're not on my team.
So the next morning they come out, they're like, oh, we're still like 1 night short. Stefan comes over. Oh, get my helmet, Raymond. He's like, oh, we're still 1 night short. Oh, actually, you're 2 nights short. In fact, I'm going to the other side. Raymond's like, what the fuck, cousin? Like, what are you doing?
Get it yourself.
Basically, yeah. So he betrays them, and Raymond's like, okay, Dunk, knight me. I'm just a squire, but if any knight can make a knight. And here's another thing where it's like you realize Dunk doesn't know the knighting words because he wasn't actually knighted himself once again by Sir Arlen. Lionel kind of immediately realizes that and like, go Sir Dunk, I'll knight young Raymond Fossaway. Another great moment.
Yep. And I like, Lionel shows up. I never miss an opportunity to bloody up the Kingsguard. We haven't had one of these in 50 years. Let's just, he's playing it up like it's just gonna be a fun time.
He's just there to party and fight, and as
home's so boring.
Yeah,
you're still not weighting the fact that like it is to the death. When that next episode starts.
Yeah.
Yes. And when this next episode ends and Dunk is like, yo, how many casualties were there?
Yeah.
Like that
Sir Beesbury died.
It's like, he got they say like, oh, he didn't even get off his horse.
He died in the first charge. Beesbury and the other Sir Humphrey Harding.
Beesbury. So we have Beesbury, Harding, Lionel, Rowan,
and
Dunk.
There's Sir Riesling or whatever with the older knight with the eye patch that comes up.
That's right, Riesling, who Dunk meets in the woods, and then we're still 1 short. We're still 1 short.
You.
Right, they're 1 short. And they're like, okay, well, you're gonna have to forfeit if you can't find another knight. He's like, give me
you're all dead.
You have to make like some kind of rousing speech to the audience. Yeah,
it's Patches O'Houlihan from Dodgeball comes up and it's like, I'll join your team.
Right. So, but so Dunk gives this great speech. He's like, "Have all the noble houses of Westeros like is there no honor amongst you anymore? Are there no true knights anymore?"
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this comedic. We should say there's at times comedic moments to kind of lighten the mood, and there's some like gross out humor, like even in the first episode when he's just like,
Oh yeah,
cuts
he
to him
he
shitting
pisses
behind
out
a tree.
his butt at one point.
Right.
Yeah,
He's horrible diarrhea.
which I again is kind of showing the realities of this world where it's like, oh, I just have to have diarrhea behind this tree real quick because this world sucks. Like,
Yeah, when he's
it's
a kid and
terrible
he
to live in
drinks
this
that
world.
little bit of water in the pond, and then
Almost
later he's
dies.
just like,
Yeah,
his night is just like reading a book or whatever. You're like, oh, this is horrible.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
see Sir Arlen's giant dick in the second episode at one point.
Yeah, dude, he's a huge dick.
He put Samson
Yeah.
to
That
shame.
thing's a prosthetic, right? He fucking
Oh, it
grabs
has to
that thing with 2 hands. It's nuts, dude. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's Sir Arlen.
you see his hog. Yeah,
That's his penny tree.
yeah. And so yeah, so Dunk gives this great speech, and then this moment where this like big guy in the audience stands up, and you think it's going to be like this big moment, and then he just like farts, and it's like
Right.
the whole
Yeah.
audience starts laughing.
That was peak comedy
Um,
in the Middle Ages, dude.
Yeah. And then you think, oh no, all is lost, right? All of a sudden, the gates open, a knight rides out in Targaryen armor. You're thinking, who the fuck is this now? He rides up, takes off his helmet. It's Prince Baelor. I will take Sir Duncan's side.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like a classic Game of Thrones hype moment for me. I was like, hell yeah,
Hell
that's my
yeah.
guy. Maekar comes up. Have you lost your senses? This man attacked my son. He was just, defending the innocent as every true knight must.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, like in talking to Dunk, he's like, oh yeah, like, because Dunk's like, would you not have done the same? He's like, well, I would have, but I'm a Targaryen. You're just a
Targaryen.
lowly hedge knight. A little different.
Yeah.
But he kind of thinks it over and it's like, you know what? Dunk's right. I
It
will
is the
fight for
same.
him.
Yeah, that was pretty cool of him.
So what did you guys think of that moment?
I did not see it coming. It really made me like Baelor because I'm like, oh, he's a good dude, especially on second watching. You see how Dunk slowly kind of wins him over through every interaction that he's had with him, no matter how brief. Just like, this kid's got spirit. We need good men in the realm. And so I like that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I am pretty impressed if we are just straight adapting a little short story that was written in 1998, that it's done a great job of introducing a diversity, a breadth of characters that
Yeah.
it pays off which ones come to what importance at the end.
Absolutely. And again, this is what George R. R. Martin said to Ira Parker before, like when they were in pre-production for the show. He's like, look, this is like my favorite story I've ever written, so don't fuck it up, basically. And yeah, Prince Baelor, it's important to say, like, this event is so important in the history of Game of Thrones, that like it literally, because of what happens with Prince Baelor, it changes the line of succession of Targaryens and basically
Right.
leads to everything that happens in Game of Thrones. Because if Baelor became king, he was heir to be king, and everyone says like, oh, Baelor, he would have been a great king, all this stuff. If he was king, then the Mad King Aerys never would have become king because he was a descendant of Maekar. So when Maekar becomes king instead of Baelor, it totally changes everything in the future. So there would be no Mad King Aerys, there would be no Robert's Rebellion, there would be no Daenerys. Like, it would all be different. Like, Targaryens would
Wow.
probably still be in power at that point.
All from this one moment of a hedge knight
It's
standing up
like a
for what is
butterfly
right.
effect. Yeah.
See, that's so interesting that you say that, Jacob. I didn't put that moment in perspective, and the where we're headed, where he's this soft little voice of like, do me a favor, take my helmet off, I feel very strange. Like it's wildly like riveting and satisfying. But
Yeah.
I truly view it as, what is their name, what is what is Ned Stark's sister's name?
Lyanna
The
Stark.
prophecy that you said before. That
Yeah.
whole thing,
Rhaegar
knowing that
Targaryen.
that occurs because of like knights at a tournament and stuff. Like this, like watching how this plays out. And again, I know that this is like a weird, like I said, heightened sort of like Hunger Games ending version of this, but it makes me understand like why those events held such power that they did. That a guy could fight other lords and knights on a battlefield and be like, fuck it, my adrenaline's so high, I'm gonna go steal that woman and like change history as well, which is like, oh no.
And again, Rhaegar Targaryen, who was the firstborn son of the Mad King Aerys, was also obsessed with bringing about Azor Ahai, who's like this mythological hero that was going to like save Westeros. And he thought, if I basically mix Targaryen blood with Stark blood, and then that son, who is Jon Snow, who he also named Aegon as a kid, because Jon Snow's
God damn it, dog. Oh, how did I forget that we have that Aegon too?
Right.
Oh,
it's egg on my face.
Because he was obsessed with prophecy, and all these Targaryen kings are obsessed with prophecy and like bringing the dragons back and bringing the Targaryen line.
So what are you going to be obsessed with? Yeah, bringing the dragons back, or bringing about the what do they call him doing the G. Yeah, but what's it called?
Oh,
not the Muad'Dib, but
Muad'Dib,
thank you.
Lisan al Gaib. Yeah.
It's like, well, I think I'll get into the eugenics side of our
because again,
that's good.
Right. Rhaegar is obsessed with the long night, the White Walkers coming down. He thought Azor Ahai will save us from, the dream of ice fire, which was what Viserys in House Dragon was obsessed with, telling Rhaenyra, like,
no, it's the dream, you bitch. I'm trying to save us. Okay.
Yeah. Don't mess with my model kit.
But it also shows you like
I'm doing my Legos for the dream.
Like shit just happens in the world of Westeros where it's like Baelor could be a great king, but instead he gets killed in some random tournament and changes the course of history. Or, a Targaryen gets a cold and dies because they don't have modern medicine, and that changes like a ton of shit, right?
Yeah.
So like shit just happens sometimes, and it doesn't make any sense.
You get whatever was happening to what's his name on Hot D, where you just turn into a golem one day, where you
dragon scale or whatever, dragon skin,
just fall off. It's like, well, all right, good luck.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this battle that we get in the penultimate episode, because this is maybe my favorite battle in Game of Thrones, and it feels like the most realistic medieval fight I've seen outside of, or maybe including The King with Timothée Chalamet, Lisan al Gaib, and Robert Pattinson. Another very realistic battle. Yeah.
Great movie.
Sure.
This is like the most realistic. Like the choreography is so well done. Like even if you compare it to like battles in Game of Thrones, like the Battle of the Bastards, whatever, I think this is better. It's more realistic, and it's showing just how like you don't understand like what's going on. Like shit is just going on around you. You have a helmet. You have a small slit where you can see out of your helmet, and you're constantly getting smacked in the head by maces and shit. And it's like the chaos of this battle, like it accurately like represents that.
It frames how like out of his depth Dunk is. Like he has not really seen true combat. He's never been to war. He trained a little bit, but this is like
he's a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
But he's very much not trained like a Targaryen prince would be trained from birth in combat, in riding and jousting and sword play, all this stuff. He gets the master at arms at the castle would have been training him. So Aerion has this huge advantage of, training and being of noble birth, whereas Dunk is just like a big guy who is a commoner.
Here's what people don't realize is Dunk's superpower is he knows MMA. Like if he gets his hands on you, it is over.
Yeah. Well,
weight classes would matter.
Guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a huge, strong guy. But here's what I like about it is we get the flashback of him and Rafe and trying to leave Flea Bottom, and then that shithead dude killing Rafe and Arlen saving him. But the guy who defeats Aerion is not Sir Duncan the Tall. It's Dunk of Flea Bottom. It's the scrappy kid who's just fighting to survive. That's who defeats Aerion, is Dunk of Flea Bottom, not Sir Duncan. Yeah.
I like that, Mike.
I like that. And now this episode, so you're seeing the battle. Meanwhile, it cuts to a flashback. Yep. And when this first happened, I was a little worried because, of course, there's sort of a trope with prestige shows where it'll have like the last episode ends on some kind of crazy cliffhanger or moment, and then the next episode is a
Flashback.
complete flashback that's
Long,
unrelated, and
yeah.
it's the whole episode is a flashback. Think of something like Severance does this, where it's just like, come on, I don't want to see. I want to get back to what's going on in the show. You know,
Can you just pay off what you're setting up, please?
Yeah. But I think it works here because, first of all, the entire episode is not a flashback, and because the flashback fits thematically so well with what's going on in the current time that it just works.
Yeah. You pointing out that it's one of the things that they extended immediately makes me go like, yeah, absolutely. Like that seems so true. And I am sick of the formatting, Jacob, of exactly what we're saying, the stereotype of like, but what if like our character was seriously wounded and then we just tell a whole story?
Yeah, whole
like, that kind of
standalone
sucks.
flashback.
But the content is great. Like this story with Rafe is very good. His weird relationship, as I said, his weird Don Quixote, you know, to
Sir
his
Arlen
mentor.
of Pennytree.
It's like fascinating. And I even love the story of like why his name is Pennytree. It's like so interesting. By the end of
so
it,
you see
the whole thing was fucking covered in pennies. No one ever comes back
to the tree.
Like, oh, shit.
Yeah. So yeah, you flash back to Dunk's childhood in Flea Bottom, which is, of course, the slum of King's Landing, where all the small folk live, and it's a terrible place to live. And you see he's an orphan boy. He has a friend named Rafe, and they're kind of orphans together, just running around doing orphan type stuff.
They steal from
street urchins.
battlefields. They recover dead items.
Horseshoes,
so you see them,
whatever they can scavenge. Yeah,
scavenging in the battlefield, and that battlefield is a battle that happened during the Blackfire Rebellion. And so when they get back to like, oh, the rebellion's over, like they put down the Blackfires and all this stuff. But you see him just trying to survive in the streets of King's Landing, and Rafe, his companion, is sort of like more adventurous than him, and like basically she wants to leave and go to the free city. She's like, we got to get out of fucking King's Landing. We got to get out of Westeros. Let's go to the free cities. It's got to be better than this. And so they're trying to get enough money so they can get out of there. But they also have to watch for the City Watch, who, again, like, there's a lot of pieces of shit people, right, in Westeros. And basically when you're an orphan in Flea Bottom, your life is worth like less than nothing to like, nobody cares about you, right? And so you can just kill a street urchin kid and like literally no one will care.
You're susceptible to abuse.
Yeah. They scrounge up enough silver for passage for 2. It's 2 silver. Then they go to get out, and the guy's like, well, guess what? Price is doubled. You can't get out of here.
Yeah.
And then the guy catches them with the money, and he's like, street rats don't have silver unless you were stealing it. Basically accuses them falsely of being thieves, and then this whole altercation ensues.
Basically, it's kind of hinted like, basically whenever they get stuff, like this one guy like just takes it from them.
Just take it, yeah.
And then you have Rafe, who steal stuff from him, which pisses him off, and then so she does that once too many times, and then he just straight up slits her throat and kills her in the street. And then Dunk, of course, attacks him, like parallels to the Tanzel assault.
Yeah,
he just sees red and starts attacking them, and of course he's just a young kid at this time, so he's getting overpowered. And that's when Sir Arlen stumbles out of a tavern. Leave that boy alone, and fucking
drunk.
Drunk, like literally throwing up as he's like swinging his sword.
Yes.
And kills these 2 City Watch guys.
Kind of barely.
That's the first time he meets.
It kind of barely does.
But also the look on his face is like, and it's time to go. Like he just bails. He does not do a good thing in that he's like, I've come upon
with Dunk at that time. No.
It's not like, are you okay? He just leaves.
Kind of leaves out there. Yeah.
No, he just ditches out because he realizes that it's like, well, I basically killed 2 Night's Watchmen.
Yep.
But that's what's so interesting about Sir Arlen as a character. Like, he's kind of a piece of shit, but also sometimes like remembers his knightly honor and is like, well, it's time to go be a knight for a minute, and then go right back to like being a drunk piece of shit in the tavern. But he's such a complicated guy.
I tried.
Yeah.
Well, it's implied
Yeah, he's
that
like-
he's suffered many wounds in war. He's an old guy. He's like, yeah, they just conscript however many of us are around to go fight. Some of us don't make it back, hence the penny trees. Like, so I've sacrificed a lot of my body and my life and not gotten much out of it. But,
Yeah.
you know, I still try to be a good guy when I can.
That's kind of how he's described in the
that's-
book, where he never stood out as a knight, but he wasn't like a terrible knight either. He was just an average, he was an average fighter, basically.
And if you recall, episode 2 is when Dunk puts together like, oh, he never had like kids or anything, so he's got no legacy. So basically, he doesn't exist. You're like,
Yeah.
oh no.
But I like
You
when
see how
Baylor's
important,
like,
his family name is Westeros and stuff.
right,
Yeah.
but Baylor does remember him, and he's the Dunk's like, he traded 7 lances with you before you finally unhorsed him, and he's like, I hate to tell you, but it was only 4,
it was
but
4.
you know, he was
The
still
story,
pretty good.
Yeah, the story grows. He
With the
says,
telling.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did like that part.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's like
sure,
the first-
sure he did.
The first time you realize, oh, Baylor, not such a bad guy, because Dunk's going around like to every noble house and like, do you remember Sir Arlen of Pennytree? He fought for your
No.
lord many years
We
ago.
don't care.
I don't know
Like,
you. I don't
fuck
know your
off.
man. Like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. And then Baylor's the first one to be like, I do remember him. He never stood out, but he never embarrassed himself either.
Yeah.
And Makar's like, how do you remember some random hedge knight from 15 years ago or whatever? That's why we love Baylor.
Showing their contrast, yeah. But
yeah, and so you see the flashbacks with Dunk throughout. You know, he's fighting. He's basically getting the shit kicked out of him in this whole fight. Like, immediately on the first charge, he takes a lance to the stomach. So he's already got
Mhm.
like a stomach wound.
Yep.
Falls off his horse, is fighting with Arian and just getting the shit beat out of him. And meanwhile, it's flashing back. We see young Dunk start to just follow Sir Arlen around, like as he just travels, and like not like Sir Arlen didn't tell him like, oh, you can be my squire or whatever.
They have
He just
no
starts following him.
relationship.
Yeah. But Dunk's like, I don't have anything else to do. I don't know anyone else. I guess I'll just follow this guy who saved my life. And eventually Sir Arlen decides to kind of take him in as his surrogate son, essentially.
/ Squire, yep. Not dissimilar to what
And we see Dunk.
Egg was doing, following him, you know.
Yeah. And so Dunk is kind of like losing his mind. He's like hallucinating, and that's kind of what gets him up. Though he hears young Egg in the crowd shouting,
Get up, sir! Get up, get up, sir! Get up, sir, Dunk! He's at one point he says the full thing, and then he very quickly goes, "Get up, sir! Get up, sir!"
Yeah. And and he kind of hallucinates Sir Arlen. Get up.
That's right.
And that's what spurs him to get up. And the tide of his battle turns. He starts beating the shit out of Arian, and Arian
Gives
says,
him-
I yield. Yeah.
Yep, he hits him with the old John Walker special a couple times, smashes them with his own shield.
Yeah.
And then gets
His
me. And
shield's dope too.
his armor's crazy dope, yeah, but he just essentially.
Oh yeah, the Targaryen armor.
Yeah, but he just drags him once he says "I yield" because he's the only one that can hear it, so he has to drag him over to the officiators,
Yeah.
picks
Say
him up,
it.
say
Right.
it.
We're in
Meanwhile, people are still fighting all around him. Yeah.
Yeah,
yes, and we see like Lionel's horse getting like skewered and him
by
going through and off.
Makar, yep.
We're in Dunk's POV, so everything's sort of in his realm. The sealed up eye, we get sort of the blurry shots, and then the deafness. I love that the volume is completely dropped out for this whole thing.
Yeah, the
it's
sound
like-
design is great.
I kind of had to complain. I was like, I want to see more of like the battle going around. I don't want to just see Dunk. Like, I want to see what else is happening. But I also like the creative decision of being like, this is what it would be like. Like, it's just
What
chaos.
affects
Like,
him? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
he's not the bad.
not even aware of, like, what
his part that he needs to win. Yeah,
he
It
gets
is
hit in the head
survival.
so many times. Imagine just getting hit in the head while wearing a metal helmet and just like your ears ringing, and you're just like, you're just out of it,
And you're outclassed, like it's muddy. Your mud gets in your vibe. Like the way they make it feel so tactile from the sound design, the visuals. Like I do like that creative decision that it's just his point of view and it's survival, that's what Life in
Yeah.
Blue Bottom was. It was just
There's
survival.
There's a lot of stuff that you really don't see in medieval fight stuff. Now, when this show was originally pitched to us, Mike, not pitched in its creation, but when Jacob was like, new Game of Thrones show, and he was like, Mike, A Knight's Tale, there's like
Yeah.
jousting and stuff, and you were like, oh, okay, we'll see. I mean, that is even A Knight's Tale is one of the better renditions I've seen of like medieval actual like hand-to-hand fare, like actual combat. Like the stuff that happens in this, like the mantle that Dunk wears, taking one of the sword blows just so that Dunk can get enough leverage to cut the inner thigh of Makar. It's like the points that they're hitting to are so specific of like, right, because that's where the weaknesses in the armor are. It's not the
armor. Yeah.
You want the cinematic thing of like, well, Dunk's 7 feet tall. He needs to catch a sword with his hand and like snap it into it. It's like, no. That is not what this is at all. It's like there's like spit and piss and blood and shit and like it's like gross. It's like it's like weak. It's chaos. It really is chaos.
Trying to survive and trying to kill the other guy before they kill you, and like
any way you can. Like there's no honor or glory. It's like you cut their balls if you can. It's like you do like a little stab at their dick if you can.
I like when they turn the sword around because that's like a real thing they would do like in medieval times. And I watched some videos with like stunt people and like medieval arms and armor type people, and they're like, this is like one of the best choreographed, like most realistic fights we've seen, like in not just Game of Thrones, but like in just anything really.
It feels that way.
Because it's just down and dirty. It's for survive. That's what Bruce Lee would say. It's to survive. This isn't a game. Like fighting is not a game. This is to survive, and you do whatever you have to.
It's not going to look aesthetically pleasing, but that's what a real fight would look like.
No, and small details like Aryan doing a lot of thrusting with his long sword because male is more susceptible to thrust than slashing cuts. So he's stabbing him a lot more than he would be slashing.
Yeah, that sucks.
You can ingrain the mail into your flesh.
Right. Yeah. Or even when you're on melee, you would get a dagger and try to put it through the slit of the helmet because that's going to be the kill shot. Like all that stuff is what was in the treaties. So like it really is accurate and dirty and dire.
Again, this is 7v7. This is tourneys in Westeros. Like
this is 7.
There's always the threat of death. Like even in just a regular tourney, like you can just die jousting, and that's like something that happens. And we've seen tourneys a couple times. Season 1 of Game of Thrones, there was a tourney. House of Dragons had a tourney. I always love to see this because these are like big events in Westeros that kind of everyone goes to, and they have big parties and feasts and stuff. But you're also like risking your life, even joining, entering the lists. Yeah.
Even in what
trial
should
by
be
combat, like anyone can die. Like no one's holding back. Like it's to the death. You don't have to die. Like it doesn't have to be all the way to the death if the main person yields. But you can definitely die, and no one's holding back.
Yeah. But I like to think
that makes it even crazier that like Baelor and Makar are fighting on different sides and stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just like to think that again, it's Flea Bottom Dunk that beats Aryan because he's like he sees Arlen say these fucks can't keep getting away with it and kill those 2 guardsmen, and like his brain's like these fucks can't keep getting away with this, and that's where he draws that final energy to fuck him up and win at the end of the day.
He sees Arlen get up, and then he has that scene where he slowly gets up because you think he's defeated, right?
It's like Rocky, man. It's so good.
It's
so good. I was like pumping my fist when he drags him over there.
Get up,
withdraw my claim.
He wins. He's taken to the winning spot, and like you said, like the stuff that can happen with the chainmail, they're trying to help him. They're like, "Oh, it's like embedded in your wound." And he's like, "Ugh."
We're gonna have
like,
to pour some
right,
boiling hot oil on it.
Baylor walks in. He's like, "It's actually boiling wine."
Oil will kill him.
So Baelor comes up in his armor. Dunk immediately is like, "My grace, I am your man. Your man. I need good men."
Good knight. Even a hedge knight.
Yes. But all of a sudden you realize, something's wrong with Baelor. He's like, young Raymond, could you take off my helmet? Something feels
Speaking
not quite
very
right.
thoughtfully, as I said, he's like,
Yeah.
"Yes, you're very handsome, Sir Doug. Where am I, by the way? I can't feel my hands." He says that thing about where he's like, "Can somebody take my
hands.
helmet off? My fingers feel like wood." Where you're
Yes.
like, "Okay, that's an interesting thing
Straight
to
out of the
say."
book. Yep.
Oh, nice.
And the
Well,
plot
that's
point here, which
crazy.
I don't know if you guys picked up on, is that he's wearing his son Prince
Right.
Valar's armor because he didn't bring his armor. He was not going to join the tourney, so he had no need for his armor.
Right.
So he's like, "Well, I need some armor for this." So his son lends him his armor, which doesn't fit right, which is possibly what leads to this injury with his helmet because
Okay.
it wasn't fit for him. It was fit for
I didn't
Valar.
understand any of this, but
Yeah.
I just assumed that's a weak point. And I mean, he hits him in the back of the head with a mace. I would assume that's what happens to armor when you get hit in the head with a mace.
Maybe if
Yeah.
it's a little small, there's less crumple zone to protect you, and it was more just into his skull or something. But either way,
Yeah. But they take, so what's his name? Ferryman. Ferryman takes off
Steely
his,
Pate.
Steely
Steely
Pate.
Pate. Come
Yeah.
on.
Steely,
Steely Pate,
that's
the
right.
armor.
Steely Pate, the armor, takes it off, and the look on his face is being like, "Oh no!" And that's when he turns around. He's like,
good.
"Does anybody hear whistling from the back of their head?"
Yeah, he turns around, you see, oh, the back of his head is just gone. He's missing like part of his brain in his skull.
Yeah.
When he touches his head and looks at his
This is the
hand,
part
it's like,
that
oh no.
controls how you feel your fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're like, oh shit, like he is seriously injured, and then he immediately falls down and basically dies.
He
And
falls
where it
into Dunk's
cuts.
arms. You know, he turns
Yeah.
around and
Yep.
it's like, that's his final
No!
moment.
Whoa!
What?
Dunk, like yells
Wake
out
up,
and
sir.
cuts, "Doo, doo, 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 doo."
Because that's
And
the
again,
first
I'm
thing.
like, what?
The first thing Dunk asks after the battle, he's like, "Did anyone die?"
Yeah.
And Raymond's like, "Yeah, Sir Beesbury and Harding on the first drive, like on the first charge, died."
And Baylor comes in, and his answer is like, "You're really fucked up. We'll get you a doctor once the doctor's done attending to my brother." And it's basically like if he had said that with like half his face gone, like, "You're pretty fucked up, by the way." It's like, dude, you're dead.
Right.
Like, you can't
don't even
say that
realize
to
it. Yeah.
anybody. You're a ghost right now.
And of course, they never expected this to happen. Like Baylor and Makar just wanted to kind of beat the shit out of each other. They didn't expect to for it to go that badly.
It's just a prank, bro. This
Yeah.
is like when me and my brother used to like shove each other down the stairs. It's like,
Yeah.
oh no, we
you
killed one
roughhouse
of
too
us.
hard. Yeah.
It's like, oh my
Right.
god, what do we
Right.
do?
And yeah, so that's how that episode ends, on the cliffhanger of him just like falling down.
Mhm.
Next episode starts, and yeah, let's talk about the finale episode. Starts with a little jazz in the soundtrack, which an unusual choice. It's an anachronistic music, which Game of Thrones never did, of course. Hot D never did. The closest Game of Thrones did is a band called The Hold Steady did a cover of The Bear and the Maiden Fair, which is a song from in canon in Westeros that George R. Martin wrote the lyrics to, at least. And so The Hold Steady did an alt rock cover of that in the credits of a Game of Thrones episode.
Right.
But this is, you get some jazz, and then the ending, you get the I forget what that song is called.
Man's Made of
credits
Mud
the
or
last
whatever. That
yeah,
song.
16 pounds, take whatever, however it goes. So what did you think of this creative choice? Did you have any thoughts on that? And it
I don't
opens on
mind it
him
at all.
just
Noticed.
yeah, he's just laying under the tree, really fucked up. I like how everyone's just like completely fucked up after that battle and like limping and have different injuries. But Sir Lionel's there, and he's like,
I was gonna say the Baratheon guy having a themed cane. Like,
Yes.
he basically got like Mike's little 3D printed, and he's like, "It's all right, we're good." And he's like, sort of like crutching.
He's got
away.
a giant stag antler crutch. I like this a lot because it's like the third most famous person in Westeros is like coming to your tree with his maester to be like, "Hey, you all right, bro?" Like, he's not summoning you to him. He's like, "Hey, man, you good?"
right.
And
he's
quick,
like, "Yeah, what
I
a
really
great
like
journey." Yeah.
when Sir Lionel was fighting in the last episode. You see that somebody had like hacked away some of the antlers as he's fighting, which is exactly what I would go for too if I was fighting a Baratheon. I'd be like, get that shit off of there, get out of here.
He's just like, yeah, what a great tourney. That was a lot of fun.
We did
Sucks
it.
that it's over now. I gotta go back to Storm's End. So fucking boring.
You want to come?
Yeah.
He's
Come
like,
on, Dunk.
no.
You're all right. I'll love you like a brother if you come. If you don't, well, I'll hate you like a brother.
Yep.
Yeah,
But I
love
like
the
his
character of
point
Sir Lionel.
when Dunk's like, Baylor died for me. How dare you talk ill of him? And he's like, fuck that and fuck you. Like, he was fighting 5
Yeah.
people who swore to protect him. They couldn't really hurt him. It's his own damn fault, and the gods don't like a pretender. He was not in danger.
That's an
Yeah,
interesting
I
speech.
fought for
Again,
you.
it's showing different perspectives on the Targaryens. You see the
Mhm.
Raymond Fossaway speech earlier where he's like talking shit on them. And he's like, yeah, I fought for you. Fucking Beesbury, the Apple kid Fossaway fought for you. Baelor risked nothing.
Which is an interesting
it's like-
perspective.
Yeah, because I do
the
like
Kings
Baelor,
never
but
can't
like,
touch him. Right.
yeah, but he never expected that, obviously. And yeah, part of the thing is like, the 3 Kingsguard that are fighting on the other side, they're by law they can't harm a Targaryen. So he's like, look, leave those guys to me. They can't basically fight back, so I should be able to take them down pretty easily.
But they make
Yeah.
So
So
yeah. I like this conversation with Maekar and Dunk as well. You were hinting at some of this earlier, Jake, where this one event has such a ripple effect to Westeros, and when Maekar's like, look, the next time there's a famine or a drought, they're going to say, wouldn't it happen under Baelor? And I'm going to hear that for the rest of my fucking life. And it's kind of like, damn, this is going to have a big effect going forward for him and Dunk. It's because you
Dunk
killed
says,
him,
like,
Dunk.
you swung the mace, but he died fighting for me, so I'm to blame. And he's like, you'll hear the whispers as well.
Yeah.
And that's where he's kind of find out that, yeah, it was Maekar hitting him in the back of the head with the mace is what killed him. So Maekar killed his brother on accident, but people will talk about it for years and say, oh, he wanted to be king. He was, getting rid of the person ahead of him in the line of succession, essentially. So you can see why there would be suspicions there.
Yep, and so that's going to haunt him. And then he's also like, I got a shithead son. He says, I'm sending Aerion to the free cities. Hopefully he'll become less of a shithead.
Yeah. Yeah.
But please train
Look, I fucked
Egg.
up all my sons. I've got a
King's
drunk
Landing.
idiot.
Yeah,
I've got an evil
what
guy.
are you gonna do? You want to come hang out with us? You want to come to our vacation home and train my dumbass son? And it's like, well,
he says, yeah, Egg. It's time Egg was a squire, but he says he'll only squire for you. You can, pledge your service to me. I'll take you to Summerhall and finish your training, because I'm sure your Sir Arlen did all he could, but you could still learn a lot about combat. And Dunk is like, I don't think so. I appreciate the offer, but I think I'm done with princes for a while.
princes.
Yeah, great line.
I am a hedge knight.
And we get sad little Egg, eavesdropping, overhearing this. We get the saddest little boy you've ever seen talking to Dunk.
Were you listening? No.
All he wants to do is squire for Dunk. Another great scene when he's he basically is thinking about killing his brother, because he walks into the next bedroom. He sees Aerion there kind of recuperating in bed, and he's got a knife in his hand. He's like,
he sees the seeds of his hair coming back.
Yes,
his
his
true
blonde hair.
Targaryen blood. Takes the knife, and you're like, is he going to shave his head? Walks up, is standing there, and like you said, Jacob, the acting, the camera work, when we get the reveal that the father is in the room, just like sitting there, stands up, puts his arm around him, and then Egg starts crying. I mean, that's very good.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah, it cuts to Maekar. You're like, oh, and his acting is great too. The actor that plays Maekar, and he kind of realizes like, oh, Egg is like ready to kill Aerion. Like, maybe I should do
fucking
something.
my kids up. Yeah, something's going on here.
Mhm.
We also skip past there's the great scene where the Apple kid's like, I married the prostitute, and Dunk's like, okay, and the prostitute's like, yeah, I'm gonna have this big baby or whatever. They're implying it's Dunk's, right?
No, they're implying
it could
someone
be
else's though, because
I don't think I thought Dunk was like, wow, okay.
I thought he was like,
Dunk, I don't think ever messed with this one prostitute, but you do see her a couple times throughout the show, and she's with different lords and stuff.
She's a prostitute. I mean,
right.
Like
she's making
later,
around.
she's in the bar with them.
I think Dunk is just like, I can't let Raymond know that she wouldn't know she's pregnant this quickly. He's like, good for you, I guess. Yeah.
I think it's implied there that he's like, my bro is kind of getting into something that he shouldn't be, like just marrying a prostitute that he met a night ago.
Like a trick.
He got tricked. But a great scene.
I guess I wonder if the green does that mean the green apple fossaways are actually not true fossaways? If Raymond's son is not his actual son that he raises.
Oh shit! We're gonna have the Green Apple rebellions.
So Makar asks Dunk to take on Egg as a squire. Dunk says, "No, I think I'm done with this for now." Goes back. He's getting ready to kind of leave, and he's like, "I don't know what to do now." Has a nice goodbye moment with Raymond where he gives his horse away, Sweetfoot, and says,
Mm-hmm.
Sweetwood.
take her to the apple trees."
Mm-hmm.
She deserves it.
Yeah. And of course, he has 3 horses that were Sir Arlen's horses. He has to sell one of his horses just to afford armor to fight.
He says that, but there's that great line in the first episode when he's sitting in the rain with the horses. And he's like, "I could sell all 3 of you. I'd retire." He's like, "I'd eat well for a year. It'd be great."
After that, then what? Yep.
Yeah, but then the life of a beggar and a sellsword or something, he says. Yeah.
So he kind of goes back and he's thinking about it. And then he goes back to Makar and he says, "You know what? I will take Egg on as a squire, but not at Summerhall. We got to do it my way. We're going to go on adventures. We're just going to kind of run around as a hedge knight and do whatever." And Makar's like, "Are you crazy? I can't have a Targaryen prince just running around with a hedge
out there,
eating salt beef, sleeping under a tree."
Right. That's no way for a prince to live. And then Dunk's like, "Well, look, all your other prince sons are fuck ups. The least I can do is try to make Egg into a good person, because obviously the Targaryen way isn't working out too well for you."
Mm-hmm.
And Makar does consider that. Now, I will say, one of the biggest changes from the book to the show is this ending where, so it ends with, Egg comes up, he's in his peasant clothes again. He says, "My lord father says I am to serve you."
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they end up together. Now, in the book, that's kind of it. Makar agrees to this arrangement. In the show, we get a after the credits scene where Makar's like, "Where the fuck is Egg?"
Yeah.
Where you realize Makar did not Egg is lying again.
They ran away.
Yeah.
The change is Makar does not agree to it in the show, but he does in the books.
Right, and Dunk has no idea. So now, we see them riding off with the ghost of Sir Arlen's horse turning left. So you're on your own, Dunk.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible.
A Fast and the Furious moment. Paul Walker. "When I see you again."
Mm-hmm.
Penny on a tree.
Nice.
I cried maybe 2 or 3 times watching this show.
Nice.
And this was definitely a moment when, Arlen takes a left and they keep going. It's just really emotional to me.
And it's the last little joke of, no, there's 9 kingdoms. The 7 was just the original ones. There's 9 now, Dunk. And that little, the Night of the 9 Kingdoms
Which
title.
is true, because they're called the 7 Kingdoms, but technically there is 9 kingdoms because, of course, Dorne and then the Riverlands, which were controlled by the Greyjoys of the Iron Islands at the time that Aegon came over. So the Riverlands and the Iron Islands were considered one kingdom at the time. So that's that's something for a little book reference for the diehards to enjoy, I guess.
Right. But yeah.
And then they set out to have more adventures. They're like, "Where should we go next? I've never seen Dorne before."
I hear they have good puppet shows.
Yes.
I hear they got hot women, dog. Get down there.
Mm-hmm.
The only place where people are happy is Dorne.
Yep.
Yeah, seems like it.
It's implied his tall lady went back to Dorne after she got her finger broke. They're like, they got the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah.
So presumably they're going to
Steely
find
Pate. Oh, they make for Dorne. But again, this moment of Sir Arlen's ghost essentially taking a left, and that's saying you are the Sir Arlen now, Dunk.
You're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you are the father figure, and I just love that cycle of I've taught you all I can teach you. Now it's your job to go on and try to do a better job than I did. Right?
Yep. Nails the penny to the tree, in honor of Sir Arlen, and set out all that stuff's great. He let Tenderfoot go with Fossaway, so that's him letting go of Arlen's horse, finally moving on from that period of his life. It's great.
Right.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, that really gets me. I mean, the whole Sir Arlen relationship, like in the parallels with Duncan Egg, like, ah, man, it's good stuff.
All you got to do to make a good Game of Thrones, apparently, is follow the source material. Who would have thought?
Look, that's what I'm saying. Listen to George R. R. Martin. I know he can be difficult sometimes,
Uh,
but it's when these showrunners start getting their own ideas that things start going to shit, and we're seeing it with Hot D season 2 now. So,
What was Aragorn's tax policy? But yeah, let's roll over to final thoughts then on Duncan Egg, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
let's do it.
Yeah, season 1 right after this.
We're back. We are wrapping things up. We're closing the book, you might say, on A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. What was this tale, Jacob, is called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms? What was the
No,
first
this is
novella
called The Hedge Knight. The Hedge
The
Knight.
Hedge Knight. That's a great first title.
Yeah,
So I
perfect.
wonder, it's not going to take subtitles for the next seasons. It's just going to be called A Knight of the
A Knight
Seven
of the
Kingdoms, I would imagine.
Well, that's what this compiled book is called, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms,
Beautiful.
which is the 3 novellas together.
So I have a question about
You
this
have to-
then.
What are the other two called?
Yeah.
What's the Hedge Knight, the Sworn? I think it's the Sworn Sword, and then the Mystery Knight.
The
Okay.
Mystery Knight. Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a Knives Out kind of situation.
That's where Dunk solves the mystery.
Yeah.
Oi, who killed me lord?
The Mystery Knight.
The Mystery Knight. Yeah.
Well, here's a question,
It'll be
Jacob.
interesting because
Yeah, what is the time jump? Because are we going to have a game? Do we have a ticking clock here where we need to film these quick? Because what's Egg's age range? You know, is this 6 months later, a year later?
A great question.
Yeah.
I would say there is a bit of a ticking clock with anytime there's a child actor that's aging, right?
Mhm.
The good news is I believe like season 2 of the show is coming out next year. So
This is
quick
like the highest
turnaround, which
rated
is great.
Oh, that's
single
wild.
season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like for
Yeah.
every
I know.
episode. So that's
People are
good.
loving it. So we're getting new season 3 Hot D in June, and then season 2 of this show in 2027. So
On
I mean-
Paramount Plus, that's going to be awesome. I mean,
Well, we'll
Oh,
see.
jeez. Right.
Paramount HBO. Now I'm interested to see how well season 2 and 3 and however many other seasons they do will work with this show, because I should say, like, some of your fan favorites, Sir Lionel Baratheon, Raymond Fossaway, these characters do not appear in the second and third
oh, rats.
stories. Like,
That's what I was afraid
each
of.
novella is a self-contained adventure of a different time
Sure.
in their lives with a separate cast of characters. So unless they do some finagling and have some cameo of Lionel Baratheon or something, we won't be seeing him again. So I think that's very interesting to have such these great characters for such a short amount of time. And it's like, well, I hope you like them because you won't be seeing them again.
Yeah, man, because the only reason that all these lords and stuff are together is because of the tournament. He's going to go back to Storm's End. They're going to go back to,
Right.
you know, whatever.
They're all going to go on to their lives and get on with it. But Duncan Egg is all about going around having different adventures each time, self-contained episodes. So next season will have a whole different cast, whole different story. It'll deal, I will tell you, no spoilers, but it'll deal a little bit about the Blackfire Rebellion and the fallout of that. So there's more Targaryen stuff, but not necessarily the same characters. You won't see Aerion Bright Flame again. And that's what's so interesting is that people sort of fell in love with some of these characters like Lionel and Raymond just being such a good friend and stuff. And it's like, man, I'd love to see them again.
Yeah. I saw some interviews with
yeah.
the cast, like the actor who plays Lionel and some of these other side characters. And they're like, every minute that we were on set was like a dream because we're the people that have been trying to get on this show for a decade. Like since when it first was announced, we didn't make it. Since they did Hot D, we didn't make it. And then we finally made the cut. So we were just savoring every single moment we had in Westeros. It'll be sad if it's over for them after just a couple appearances, you know?
Yeah. And I'm hoping the season 2 will be as good as this one. I think the story of this one is better. So
For the novella.
it'll be interesting to see if it has sort of a second season slump like Hot D. I mean, it'll still follow the second novella, I'm guessing, but people will be like, oh man, I wish this was as good as season 1. That's what I'm kind of worried about, but
And we're going to have
I have faith.
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say my final thoughts would be that if they're sticking true to not even what the source material is, but what the chemistry that makes this work so well, the dunk and the egg relationship, the smaller adventure, then I'm gonna like it no matter what. This to me was the closest I felt to watching that first season of Mandalorian, where I was like, oh, I'm not held down by IP madness. We can just tell a cool story about a cool character in a cool thing that I like. And if it can hold on to that and not become the Book of Boba Fett, then yeah,
Right.
that will be the battle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a fine line because again, of who Egg is, like the Targaryen stuff is always going to be there. So in a way, like he is a very important character in the history of Westeros. So it's not like they're just two random guys. Like even though they do go on adventures, like we know where it
It-
ends up with him becoming
It's just so interesting that like the executives at HBO truly have in their mind like, well, the Targaryens are the Skywalkers. No matter what our story is, we need a Targaryen inserted. And it's wild that they canceled that Naomi Watts prequel thing that was like
Yeah.
all about the Targaryens.
Oh,
Well, no, that
I
was
forgot that
about
existed.
Starks. So that's the thing. Is like the
The
Starks were
first
the main
men.
characters of
That's
Game of
right. You're right.
Thrones.
Yeah.
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 The Starks in the
They
North.
should be.
Yeah, but the Targaryens, and there's less Targaryens in Game of Thrones itself, of course. There's only Daenerys, right? Because the Targaryens, it exists in a world where the Targaryens were overthrown.
Yeah.
Now it's all about these other characters. So that's why I think all the prequels are so Targaryen heavy, because people watch Game of Thrones are like, I like this, but I want to see more of like the Targaryens. Like those are
We're
interesting
those
characters.
blonde freaks.
Yeah. Those incestuous
Um,
aliens, as it were.
Yeah.
And again, and of course, there's no Starks in this because the Starks are up in the north right now. They're not going to some tourney that's all the way down in the Reach, which again is
Right.
way down south where the Tyrells live. If you remember, the Tyrells are the Lords of the Reach. So
Right.
that's where they are in the show for the tourney. The north is so much farther away. But
and it's like the largest kingdom, so they got enough shit to do than send people down to a tourney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole thing. Is like they rarely come south of the Neck, which is kind of in the middle of Westeros. That's why it's such a big deal when Ned Stark goes to King's Landing to be handed the king and all that stuff. I mentioned George R. R. Martin has like 6 or 7 ideas that he wants to do for future stories, and they would lead all the way up to Aegon becoming king. Ira Parker, the showrunner of the show, has said in an interview what his ideal plan would be to do like a couple seasons now, wait like 10 years, make a couple more seasons, basically do a Boyhood type thing and shoot more seasons as the actors grow. And do that until like through as Egg ages into an adult and eventually becomes king.
Wow.
Now, I don't think it's very realistic that that'll happen. Just because of like logistics, I don't think that's going to happen.
We don't even know what the CEOs of quote HBO Paramount are going to prioritize. Yeah, it's very much up in the air.
Yeah. And so you have to wait for Dexter, Soul, Ansel to age, and hopefully, adult him will still be like a good actor and still want to do the show and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what the pursuit angle will be for season 2 if that's not in the novella. Like, who is Maekar going to send to go get or look for Egg? I could see Darren, go fucking find your brother or something. And I kind of like his interactions with Dunk, so I could see that working to bring that character back.
So that's something that's interesting because that's a big change from the books, and people online are like some people didn't like it. Some people are like, how are they going to handle that? Because it's going to be maybe a plot point in future seasons where it's like Egg did just like leave without permission, and so now Maekar is going to send something. If that'll be followed up on or not, I don't really know. But
kind of like a joke. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
true.
kind of how I felt. Like
Egg?
Maybe it won't be such a big deal, but season 2 we'll have to see. But I hope it's as good as this season. And obviously, my final thoughts. I really love this show. Like it was so well done, and I do want to shout out. I think the costumes and the set decoration and everything are so good. Honestly, I think the costumes in this are better than they've ever been in Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. The costumes in Game of Thrones, especially by the end, the last couple seasons, they got so like stagey looking and just unrealistic. They didn't feel like a lived-in world, and they just gave everyone these like black outfits that like look cool or whatever. But like this show is really leaning into like what the books feel like, where it's like a lived-in world. They have colorful different things like crazy shaped dragon helmets and stuff. Like it's all about like maximalism in the books. Like knights all look insane because they all have like the Kingsguard white armor painted white.
Yep.
Like it looks so good in this show compared to like
But
yeah.
the contrast with Dunk going so simple and seeming so plain, I love that.
Yeah.
To your point, Jacob, I just watched the live action How to Train Your Dragon remake, and it does that medieval fantasy clothing thing of like, what if like our hero's wearing a tunic that has like a hoodie, you know, like part, yeah, that's like so modern, and it's like so like it's my least favorite trope of costuming, and this is so much better than all that garbage. Like it's so realistic. Yeah.
It's so much better than late Game of Thrones. It's crazy like how bad that show got, like in multiple ways, not just the writing, but I think they just got lazy with it. And they're like, dress everyone in black, like leather, like make them look cool.
Yeah.
Like
black leather. It is literally black leather. Yeah.
It's
Even like Cersei's in modern textiles. Yeah.
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 Like, she should be wearing
Sansa, like
crazy...
everybody's, it's like, what is this?
Like people in Westeros are obsessed with their house sigils and stuff. So like the golden lion of Lannister should be on like everything that like Cersei wears and stuff. And like the stag antler helmets and stuff. There should be more of that shit.
His whole tent, man, was so sick. He had an antler for stag shit.
Yeah.
The doorway was covered in it. He bumps his head on it. Oh man, I loved it.
Oh,
right.
What's my stuff themed? Deer everything, baby. Like don't even worry about it. It's like, oh shit.
And the first couple seasons of Game of Thrones were better at that, but I think they just got, I don't know, it just wasn't as good. And this feels more like a lived-in world. It doesn't have people teleporting around the planet like, you know, Littlefinger going across Westeros in a day or whatever, like dumb shit. It's just, again, I think it's the most faithful adaptation of George R. R. Martin's work that we've gotten.
Yeah, and I just like
it's great.
I just like how simple and subtle it is. That Dunk is naive as hell, but he's got a good heart, and that just energy slowly wins people over around him. Even Steely Pate, you know, how much for the shield and the helmet for you? A copper.
God,
you know, like people just fall in love with him because he's a good guy, and we need more good guys in this world. Good people doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
Shout out Peter Claffey. I mean, this guy
and the kid who plays young him was good too. But yeah, Peter Claffey.
Yeah.
But to be a professional rugby player and say, you know what, I want to get into acting, and this is
like
your
his
breakout
fourth role.
Yeah. He's been in some other minor stuff. I think mostly like UK stuff.
Yeah. But this, I mean.
Yeah. And I mean, he fits the profile being a very tall guy. Like they obviously
he is very tall. I'm sure the casting enjoyed that about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then juxtaposed with little bald egg and Dexter Soul Ansel killing it. I mean, that's what makes the show for me is these two, and they nailed the casting. Everything else could have been worse, and I still would have liked it if they nailed this. But everything was great, so I loved it.
Yeah, maybe my favorite Game of Thrones thing. I'm not sure, but man, I've never
Easily.
rewatched the other stuff.
That's gonna be the issue. So
it's up there for me. I mean, I put it there with like, I think the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, the first season of House of the Dragon, and then this are my favorite.
When's the Pedro season?
3?
That's season 4.
4, dang it.
That might I think that's probably my favorite Game of Thrones thing.
I like 1 through 4 because again they stick to the book, and I'm a noxious book purist, and that's just the way it is.
No,
sorry. Well, I just wanted to say, it's interesting that the 2 spinoffs we've gotten, of course, when Game of Thrones ended, they had all these pilots and pitches for different spinoffs. There was like 8 different pitches that HBO was considering. Like you said, they shot this pilot with Naomi Watts for the first men stuff in the North.
Put it in the trash.
Decided not to make it because they're like, this pilot's not good.
Horrible.
But the 2 things that actually got made are based on written material from George R. R. Martin. So I'm
Probably
afraid,
reason for that. Yeah.
yeah, when they start to get away from that, like, oh, let's do a Jon Snow spin-off, which has been pitched a few times and considered. Like, what's Jon Snow up to now?
Well, what
Well,
did Sansa do after? It's like, no, nope.
yeah,
No.
that's when you start to lose me with the spin-offs. Like,
Yep.
okay, we're getting away from what exists in the canon. I don't know. I don't trust like some random showrunner to, make it good. Now, what else could they do? One thing that's also been considered is an Aegon's conquest story, which would be the story of Aegon the Conqueror coming over and
But that
conquering
that
Westeros.
should be a fucking movie. They
Yeah.
should
I was
have
gonna say it might be a
the
movie.
balls to make
Yeah.
that like a huge fucking spectacle, dude.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't know what spin-offs I would want to see because you're getting so far away from the book material that I
Yeah.
just don't trust the quality.
Yeah. I just like the perspective of the small folk. I think all these lords are assholes mostly, except for Lionel. He seems chill.
Yeah.
But I like just it's got my YouTube algorithm now. Like, what were medieval pubs really like? Like all these historical YouTubers. I'm just
Right.
like, yeah, how accurate was the show approximately? But anyway,
Could
loved
I
it.
be a drunk idiot who rambles about the dreams that he has?
You probably would.
There's a career path
Yeah.
for me. But yeah, loved it. Can't wait for more.
All right. It's one of our
So we loved
favorites. So
it.
we got
Yeah.
no more final thoughts here. Jacob, can you give us a little rundown on what's coming up next week if we know?
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
What did your dream show you about next week?
Yeah. You
So,
and the
of course,
dragon.
yeah, we're okay. So next week, of course, we've got a little movie coming out, Colin. A little movie called Scream.
Oh,
Scream 7. So we'll be talking Scream 7. A little controversial,
Making
of
bank.
course.
We know that much.
Making
Controversial,
bank.
but doing quite well.
making money, not making
I
great
wanted to-
reviews.
I wanted to boycott this for reasons, but I will see it since we're going to talk about it. But I do think it's kind of shitty how they did the,
Lead
what
actress is
happened with
dirty.
the cast of 5 and 6, and
True bummer.
well, how can we save this? Let's bring back Nev Campbell, who said she would never come back because she was
That's-
insulted because they didn't pay her enough. I
Because
guess
she
they're paying her.
said we're scum.
Right.
Well, guess what? We got her back.
Not
She's
the
Dump truck of
flex
money.
you think it is.
Yeah. So we'll see how it works, but that'll be next week, Scream 7. And then we got to figure out rest of March. We talked Ponyo last week, of course. We'll be doing
Great
the Wind
episode.
Rises
I
at
just
the end of
listened to it
March.
on my flight back. Reminder that I am flying again this week, so we got to figure out the screen record. Listeners, this matters not to you, but it does.
This
Yeah,
is what
we'll
matters
figure
to the
it out.
High Council. This is what happens behind closed doors here at the Normies Like
The
Us
little
podcast. So
people.
That's right. But I was so excited to talk to this because I love this show, and basically the whole airing of the show was just like me and Mike telling Colin, "You gotta start watching the show. You gotta start watching the show."
we've just been
A
edging the
true
whole
behind
time.
the scenes look. We edge knighting.
Edge night.
We moved some stuff around because Jacob was like, no, you're not missing that episode, Colin. You
Yeah.
are watching that show. And I was like, all right.
I'd rather you miss Ponyo because we
Yeah.
gotta talk this.
Do you feel like that was a good decision
that's
though?
another
You're
thing.
happy with it?
It was. I'm
Okay.
very satisfied. And in fact, I have some friends at work who enjoy medieval fantasy stuff as well, who I didn't even know what their relationship was to Game of Thrones. And it ended up today with me saying, like, you got to watch this thing. Like, I don't care what it is. You will like this no matter what. I think if you watch the show Vikings, you would love this show, right?
Mm.
Like, even if you're just like a historical
Yeah.
whatever person. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to be a Game of Thrones fan necessarily.
No.
You can still enjoy the show for what it is. I will say my sister, who's a big Game of Thrones fan, big House of the Dragon fan, tried to watch this show, got to the first episode when he's shitting behind the tree and said, that's gross. I don't like that. Turned it off.
But
So I got to
fair.
convince her to keep watching. Yeah.
Dang.
Fair statement to make. I don't know.
So she
Tell
did
her how many
not
horses are
like
in it.
that.
It's be fine.
Did not like the gross out humor. I'm gonna have to convince her. I'm gonna say stick with it. It's like so worth it to watch. But she was very turned off by that, so I'm gonna have to convince her.
Wow.
All right. Side recommendation, because I randomly saw this movie. It's like a low fantasy movie I have never seen before, but it's Dragon Slayer from 1981. It has a very kind of grounded
Oh,
feel
great
to
movie.
it and great special effects at the end. I'd never seen it until the other week, and it has a similar vibe to this maybe. So check that out if you're done with your Game of Thrones.
Did you ever see the Jabberwocky, Mike?
No, what? The Jabberwocky.
Throw
Googling.
that on your list. Very Dragon
The
Slayer-esque. The Jabberwocky.
Okay, I'll put that on my list.
Again,
But
I'm
yeah.
just completely
Ooh.
A Song of Ice and Fire pilled again. It's all it takes is like one good Game of Thrones thing. Like after the finale of Game of Thrones, I was like, I think I'm done with this universe for a while.
Fuck this forever.
After season 1 comes out, I'm back on the horse. Season 2 is bad, I'm out.
God,
this
I
show's
know I
bad,
keep
I'm in.
comparing it to it.
Yeah.
I wish Star Wars could be that for me. I sit in the theater and I watch those Mandalorian and Grogu trailers, and I think about how if I could have the power to strike this theater down, I would. Like, I would just blow us all up with us in it. Like, it just looks so bad.
Mhm.
Yeah. I get the Mandalorian comparisons, but the Star Wars I would most like in this show too is actually Andor, because it's like, oh, they made a good thing. Like, that's worth watching. And that's kind of what Andor was.
And you had to convince people to watch
But Andor,
it.
the difference is when I watched
Yeah,
Andor, as
yeah.
much as I loved it, it didn't get me going like, I'm back, I'm Star Wars pilled again, I'm back in, you got me. It was more just like, okay, this was good, everything else is still shit, and I'm not
I don't
back
trust
in.
you still.
Yeah.
This will
I've
probably
been
never
more
happen
nervous
again
than that.
because it wasn't that profitable, and it's the direction Star Wars is going is like very much like leaning into the Clone Wars, leaning into everything that what's that guy's name?
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni. What's the one thing Dave Filoni wasn't a fan of? Andor. So I don't
the
think we'll
thing
be getting
he
that again.
didn't make.
Well, we got
Yeah.
Starfighter, so I'm sure that'll
wasn't
be great.
enough-
It's also Ryan Gosling with a younger mentee underneath his wing. So
Yeah, directed
back
by
to the
Sean
formula.
Levy, my
God,
favorite.
your favorite director, Jacob.
Oh, man,
That's right.
oh, man, oh,
A
man.
guy you called, I forget what you say on the Deadpool and Wolverine episode. You're like, maybe the hackiest loser. You
Yeah.
just body him. It always makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean Levy. No, it's nothing personal. All right. Well, those are our boys, Dunk and Egg. We love them.
That's right. We did it. And if you followed along and had a great tale as a hedge knight and you'd like to send us a raven about those exploits, you can do it at Normies_like_us, where you can rate, review, subscribe to this podcast. Hit us up. Tell us what you want to see for future episodes. Tell us what your thoughts were. If you listen along and were as bothered as Laura was by the diarrhea, I'd be curious to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We were too. If you liked Lionel Baratheon to the point, like Mike, that we're choosing what house we follow now, then let us know that too.
I love it.
And hit us up on YouTube.
It's a podcasting
Absolutely.
storm
And
out
if you
here.
like this, get the books. Get into the books. I can't recommend them enough.
The
if you
Laughing
like it.
Storm. That
Storm.
is what you get nicknamed if you're just a sexual nightmare. Oh, the Laughing Storm over there. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
He's the rock star of Westeros. We love him.
I
Yep.
love it. He literally has a dangling little cross earring.
He does.
Yeah. He's got cooler clothes than everyone else. It took some creative license again. Like, you probably wouldn't have that in the book, but it's
Looks
cool.
like
The
fucking
rule of
Boy
cool.
George. I mean, it looks incredible.
Climbs over the table. It's great. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. God bless.
All right, normies.
All right, we've been your hosts. This is the Colin night. I don't know.
This is
I wanted to ask you, what would you guys' sigil be? Do you have any ideas if you were in Game of Thrones?
Oh yes, that's a great question. I sent you guys when I won Elden Ring. My character wore horns. I've done that since Dark Souls 1. I've always been a big stag and deer guy. The Brookses, unfortunately, our thing is just like a guy holding a wooden boat. So I guess I'll go with that. It sucks.
So you're in the Iron Isles.
Right.
Yeah,
The
probably,
Riverlands.
honestly. Yeah.
Sure.
The Riverlands.
I don't know what I'd be. I'm Year of the Dragon in Chinese Zodiac, but that's lame. I like a raven and I like a wolf. So one of those three.
Stark. Yeah, a lot of the
Dire
cool
wolf,
ones are
yeah.
taken, right? Starks, Targaryens, Lannisters. With the
Honestly,
horn.
like red apple and green apple opens up a lot for me. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
I guess that would be the
There's
maple
so
tree.
much-
Yeah, never mind.
the
Yeah.
butterflies. Yeah, the maple tree.
We make the
Yeah.
syrup. Yeah, that's what my hometown's known for. The maple
Ooh,
tree.
The butterfly knight. Sir Colin. It's like, oh, why is he
It
called
would
that?
be, yeah, the butterfly knight.
Yeah, what's that
mean,
asshole?
The
up to?
skyline chili night.
Of course, I like
yes.
dragons. I'm a big dragon guy. If I couldn't be a Targaryen, maybe I would be some kind of snake. I would be the snake, Jacob the snake, Sir Jacob
Dornish.
of the house.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd be the sand snake,
The sand snake.
the red
okay.
viper.
I hate sand.
Yeah, I like the Dornish. Sure.
Yeah, they
The
got good
painted
puppet shows.
lady. That's what they call me.
The painted lady.
That's right.
They're like, we know
The
what that
shield would have a
means.
big butterfly on it.
We
A
know
So-
what you are.
butterfly.
I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I am.
Quick fun fact about tavern names. You know, the Boar's Head, the Red Apple, right? That's because people were only semi-literate, so they would draw a picture and be like, "Oh, the brew house is at the Lion's Head," and it'd be a picture because people
Oh,
couldn't read. So that's where those came
Yeah,
about.
easy
So
to
the Painted
recognize.
Lady could be a bar.
I love it.
Go down to the
There we
Painted
go.
Lady.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
just be a tavern owner and just get drunk every night in your own tavern.
You have to drink all of it within a day or
Not a
two when you
horrible
brew it.
idea.
So you got to get through it. Stop. I don't make the rules. It's going to go bad. We got to go,
I'm
boys.
married to one of the prostitutes.
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds right. It sounds correct.
Not bad.
That's correct.
All right.
All right.
Well, take it easy,
All
Norms. Yes, it's the Lionel Mike Rathian signing off.
This is
Get up, sir.
Get up, Sir Dunk. Sir
Good luck, sir.
This is Jakarian Targaryen.
It rhymes.
Sir Jakarian Targaryen. Yeah, I'd have some fancy Targaryen.
Yeah, I like it.
Later,
All right.
my lords.
Later, my lords.
See ya
Bye.
later.